Alright, so we're starting now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the wait. Very, very sorry about all that. This is Chris, and we have Mindus Do. We are going to be casting your League of Legends matches today for the whole tournament over here at the DigiPen League of Legends LAN party.
How's it going?
Sorry about that. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Ryan Mindus Do Baker, and I am here joining with Chris Ninja Chris. Is Christensen? Yes?
Yes. A lot of Chris's in there.
There's too many Chris's to remember. But we are here getting into Champion Select now. This is a blind pick match because we did do the picks and bans in chat, so you won't have to sit through that tedium. Unfortunately, as the players are taking a little bit to lock in, presumably getting their runes and masteries set up, there is going to be a little bit of a delay there, but we can take a look at the matchups already.
Yes, so in addition to that, we should go over some of the ground rules of what's going on with today's tournament. So, right off the bat, we actually have... I'm going to switch over to the bracket, which it actually still is on the bracket right now, to show off exactly how the tournament system works. We have an 8-team captain's draft running right now, where each of the 8 captains chose from a remaining party list of 35 players to create their own custom teams. Now, these teams are completely, I wouldn't say randomized, so to speak, but more or less a complete array between highly skilled players all the way down to bronze and sometimes even unranked players. So there's going to be a very wide array of who's actually going to be the skilled players as well as who's going to be naturally learning the game and probably just going to be standard fodder. On top of that, it should be very important to notice that we have decided as a rule to not allow Kindred ever as one of the champions allowed to be played due to the recent patch update. So, every champion aside from Kindred is completely valid. On top of that, finally, we should go over the pricing structure. As for the current pricing structure, we have 4,200 RP going to first place alongside a championship, or excuse me, a tournament. Triumphant Rise is the word I was looking for. Triumphant Rise skin, as well as, well, every team is going to be receiving a 10-win RP, excuse me, 10-game IP boost. On top of that, second place is receiving 3,000 RP. Third place is going to be receiving 1,800 RP. And fourth place is going to receive 1,000 RP. And everybody else, basically anybody who gets eliminated this very first match, is going to receive strictly the 10-win IP boost.
And to give you guys a little bit of context, $20 will get you about 1,800 RP if I'm not mistaken. So we're looking at a little over $40 as the top prize per player. So that's a pretty generous sum to get if you get first place, in addition to the Triumphant Rise skin, which is only available if you compete in tournaments.
Absolutely.
With that, I think we can jump into the loading screen here, take a look at the matchups. As you can see on both sides, we've already locked in each of our players. Taking a look at the blue team, we've got Aurelia in the top lane with Off Knight. We've got Gragas in the jungle with Tetephanes, I believe is how it's pronounced. Apologies if I mispronounced any of these names. In the support role, we've got Morgana with Lost Lulu. We've got Ezreal on AD carry as Brocus, and Kiyokami as Victor.
And we can go over those matchups as we get into the game. So let's talk about the compositions for now instead of who's running them, so that we can always.
Sorry about that.
No, that's great. That's perfect. I appreciate that. So taking a look right off the bat, I'm actually seeing quite a bit of tank meta coming in from the blue team over on Off Knight's team, which I'm kind of a fan of. Purple team's got a lot of poke and a lot of frustrating play to play against, but I don't know.
We've got a pretty solid mixed composition coming out from both teams here. As you can see from the blue team side with the Aurelia and the Gragas pick, we've got a good mix of tankiness as well as some damage. Aurelia having that true damage on her W, in addition to being a primarily Triforce and Bork build, will give her a nice mix of the engaged tankiness and damage. But on the purple team, we've also got Gnar and Lee Sin that also tend to build tanky. Now, both of them could build damage, but they are more ideally suited in that tanky DPS role. I think we're going to end up seeing a little more consistency coming out of the blue team. Both Gragas and Aurelia have not necessarily point-and-click maneuverability, but like pretty much that, whereas Lee Sin and Gnar both have to really maneuver properly to get into where they need to be, as well as have conditional CC, whereas it's a lot easier to land your CC on Gragas and Aurelia. Additionally, looking at the supports, I think the Morgana bindings will be huge if they get landed. Zillion Q's not as easy to hit, but maybe we'll see an exciting shockwave come out of the Orianna, which could make or break some of these fights. So a pretty good mix of compositions here. I'm excited.
Oh, big time. Me too. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I'm also concerned about, maybe this is because I've always been considered a bit of a low-level player, but we do see that the Zilean, he's going to be a frustrating player to compete against because the Gragas is going to have a decent amount of dive, but I don't know if they're just going to be able to seal the deal in addition to have Caitlyn's escapes. You've got Zilean bringing Caitlyn back to life, so they may get a couple of support kills once in a while back in that bottom lane. But I would think that they're going to want to really pick on them a bit early.
So the big thing I think to consider here with the Zilean pick is his ultimate when it comes to mid and late game team fights. Now, Victor being primarily a
Diamond with this.
Victor being primarily a burst champion, if he does end up getting an ultimate off and try to zero somebody out, if Zilean does pop that ultimate on there, he's not going to. They're not going to be able to kill with that burst damage, and that could necessarily invalidate a lot of Victor's contribution in fights. Now, whether or not that's actually the case, we'll have to see.
All right, so let's go ahead and run down through the cast of all of the players real quick. Over on the blue team, we have Off Knight running on the Irelia. We have Titaphanes on the Gragas, Lost Lulu on the Morgana, Brokas on the Ezreal ADC, and finally Kiyokami on the Victor.
Got a little bit of a scuffle here in the engage, but we're going to go ahead and go over the red team. On Caitlyn, we've got Kill Barney 15. We've got Zilean on Swiftwing 45. We've got Gnar on Samish 16. Dr. Daz on the Lee Sin. And finally Banwas on the Orianna. So it looks like we had a little bit of poking around there early game, kind of trying to get some early vision into the red side jungle, but it looks like both sides are just going to defensively ward up and take their positions. Looks like we got Lee Sin starting on the Gromp, and we've got Gragas starting on the Krugs.
Absolutely. So this is already going to be a lot of fun just to check out. We do have the Morgana going down in the support lane alongside the Ezreal, so that's going to be a lot of fun, especially once they start to get a lot of that pick.
There's going to be a lot of poke in that lane. If Morgana does land a binding, Ezreal can aggressively move in and get a lot of damage out really quickly, and Zilean doesn't offer any real utility until level 6 other than his stun, which is not super easy to hit. So if we do see some fighting there, I expect that the bindings will make or break that in addition to the poke. Going to be a lot coming out from the blue team. Now, with the jungle starts being where they are, I do think that we will see a lot of play in the mid or top lane. Once these junglers hit level 3, both of them have very fast ganking abilities. So it'll be exciting to see where they plan to move. Do have a binding landing already, and some good damage going out on Caitlyn there.
Oh yeah, lots of nice harassment right off the bat. That's what we enjoy seeing. So not too shabby right off the bat. We already know that both teams out of this are out for blood. So this is going to be an exciting matchup right off the bat.
So both teams CSing fairly evenly. Another binding's going to land down in bottom, it looks like. So I'm going to get some more trade damage down there. We've got kind of standard lanes going on, so we can see that Lee Sin and Gragas are finishing up. Lee Sin is moving a bit faster than Gragas, so we could expect to see a gank coming out of him early. Lee Sin having some fairly potent early game ganks with his Q execute damage, as well as the slow built in. So once he gets that red buff, it's going to be pretty tough to get away from him if he gets a flank off. And Gnar not having the greatest escapes available to him, especially before level 3. So if he does get in there early, we could see that being quite profitable for him.
Now, do you think that this Lee Sin is probably going to be coming down into the mid lane and helping aggress against the Victor, or do you think that he might risk it against the Morgana down against the Ezreal and try and keep him shut down as soon as possible?
Well, his team is not actually really facilitating his early game strengths much. If you notice here, they're kind of pushing up pretty hard into the map. So it's going to be pretty difficult for him to be able to get in, with the exception of maybe the bot lane, which is already pretty tough to gank because with Ezreal and Morgana.
As we see Dr. Daz starting to come around and see if he can pick on this Victor. This might be the first jump right onto the game. Kiyokami taking a lot of damage, forcing down the shield right off the bat. Gets the flash of the first blood. Nonetheless, well played going out to Lee Sin. That's got to sting.
That was a really well played approach from Lee Sin. He did end up wrapping around, which helped mitigate some of that push from Banwas. Kiyokami being pretty greedy with her flash there, was not able to get away and ended up burning it at the end to try to escape, even though the burn damage was going to kill her anyway. Just a little bit too greedy holding that summoner there, and it does cost her life. A very good play from Lee Sin and Orianna.
Very, very well done. So that said, who do you think is going to be able to take advantage? I mean, obviously the red team is going to be able to take this advantage bigger, but
We did see Lee Sin getting that kill, so with that, there's a possibility that he does go damage early game, maybe that Warrior Enchant instead of the Cinderhulk. And with that Warrior Enchant, that actually does provide quite a bit of early game damage that would not normally be there for like the tankier Lee Sin, and does enable him to still go into tanky early. So he's going to actually be a lot more threatening if he does go that route. We do see already the Stalker's Blade, and looks like he is going to Warrior's Enchant with that long sword pickup there. So gank in the top
Big
lane.
flash coming in. Samish is taking a lot of damage. Forces the flash. Not sure exactly what he was trying to get out of that. Oh, he still gets over the wall nonetheless.
Yeah,
I completely forgot that.
Does have that hop, which does allow him to get out of some situations. They're stickier, engage in the bot lane though. Heal was burned there.
And that's going to allow at least a little bit of extra aggression, perhaps even a Lee Sin gank. The rest of the blue team is pushing up a little far. Completely missed shot from Morgana, and that's going to signal the retreat from Brokos as well as the lost Lulu.
I think Lee Sin is going to have to help this bot lane out now. They're in a pretty tough situation. If Morgana does land a binding on Caitlyn, could very easily spell out death for her at this point with no heal up and no real aid being able to be given from the Zilean outside of the exhaust. Here comes Lee Sin though.
Lee Sin does spot him out. He does not have the sight zone just yet, so this is going to be a little bit of a concern.
Good binder.
Nice catch coming in from Lost Lulu.
We got an exchange going on mid lane here between Bonlois and Victor.
And that's going to pull him in. Bonlois dropping down to about 350 health, and that's going to allow her to allow them to back out. Kiyokami definitely winning that trade back out of that.
Going to get a little bit of that pressure back in the mid lane. It looks like Lee Sin might be making a return play. He's heading over there. That'll help even that out, but it looks like Bonlois is pretty low on mana, so I don't know if they're going to be able to get much out of here, but here he comes.
Dr. Dawes healing up right off the bat, still coming in. Kiyokami still does not have flash, forces the stun. Here comes a teleport coming in from Gragas, wanting to assist in this kill. It might be Aurelia, excuse me, coming in a bit too late. I guess Gragas does not have the teleport. My apologies on that one.
It was a good way to kind of slow down the aggression there coming out from Dr. Dawes. But with Orianna at such low mana, I don't think they were going to be able to pick up a kill very easily anyway. And Orianna's also not running Ignite. She's running Barrier. So with that low of mana and no red buff on Dr. Dawes, I think that teleport may have been a little bit wasted. But the intent was there, so...
An attempt was made. So, therefore, gold star to Irelia. Thank you very much for helping out your buddy. Especially since Kiyokami currently still does not have that teleport, does not have her flashback yet.
It's going to be a little bit on there. We do see teleport coming out of Kiyokami, so on the Victor with the teleport, she doesn't actually lose that much lane presence. And if we look at the CS matchup, she's only down about 10, which could have been much worse after that first death. So hanging in there, does go with the double Dorns for that extra early game damage boost. Possibly going to try to get some solo kills in lane. Binding lands. Very good.
Right on top of Swiftwing. That's going to take a lot of damage. Is not able to res himself just yet. A little too early for that. And that's going to be a beautiful little setup right off the bat. Ezreal picking up their first kill in the bot lane.
And that's the danger of that lane. You land one binding, and that's a lot of damage that you can get off of just that one binding. Ezreal can come in with multiple spells, auto attacks, and Caitlyn can't really do anything, especially with that heal down. And Zilean having no way to actively help himself get out of trouble until level 6 when he has his ultimate available. So nice pick up there by the Morgana, expertly done.
Especially since now we have the gold pretty much.
We do have a skirmish going on in top lane though.
Coming back right on top of Samish, and dropping down to less than about 100 health. So well done getting back out of that fight. Gets the stun on top of Irelia, but it's just not going to be enough.
It is just a slow there, so not going to be able to really pick up on that. Even after Mega Gnar comes down, he's going to be pretty low health. And without landing an ultimate or having some assistance, I don't know if there's going to be a kill there. A little nice exchange going on between them, though. Going to keep that pressure up in the top lane. We do notice about a 12 CS lead coming out there for the Irelia, so she is getting some lane advantage there over
And
Gnar.
she is even rotating back up into the top lane to try and see if she can help stop this gank coming back in. But she walked right through that minute ward.
Nice ward, picked that up.
So Off Knight more than happy to waste a bit of time as he from Irelia as he returns to the bot lane, looking for the dive. That's exactly what Irelia was wanting. Now that he spotted that, that's what Irelia wanted. That
Gnar pursuing though.
Yeah,
gonna get some good damage off of that hyper. Looks like it's just gonna be a small exchange though, nothing too big. Now we do notice that Gnar is going for the Blade of the Rune King build. This will be pretty effective against the Gragas Aurelia combo, but not too much because Aurelia doesn't really build health until she gets her first few items. So I think I would have rather have seen him go Black Cleaver against this team. That would have shredded a lot of armor really quickly and also have given Gnar that cooldown reduction and health. Binding does land in the bot lane though. We see some good damage go down on the Caitlyn there.
So still lots of little skirmishes and fights going in all over the place right now.
Oh, Gnar is getting attacked again by the Aurelia up top.
Oh, just dives right in,
Does
gets
flash.
the flash, and still gets the kill out of it. Well done to Off Knight. 2-1 lead going on, 300 gold, going over to the side of the blue team, Off Knight's team.
And we do see Aurelia making full use of that Sheen. Sheen does give her a really nice early game power spike, as she is able to weave in spells with her auto attacks fairly easily. So if she's able to land some of those onto Gnar, with no defense on him, he's going to take a lot of damage really fast and have to hope that he can sustain back up with that lifesteal. So some good use of that early game item advantage there coming out from Aurelia.
Dual red buffs getting ready and put onto their appropriate junglers, is that both teams are potentially looking for the dragon right now, but both teams spotting one another and choosing not to go for it. Gragas, little sneaky play coming in from the Aurelia, trying to stop the chicken from being finished off, and that's still going to go over to the Gragas.
Cheeky of a ward, but Ori could find herself cut out as Lee goes in.
Titaphanes is actually taking quite a bit of damage. He was brought down to about 300 health. Aurelia misses the shot, can't pull him back in. So does Lee Sin, forces the flash, not sure what you're doing there. Dr. Dawes going down, drops down to the turret, gets the kill for Kiyokami. Further dives coming in from Aurelia. Here's the Ezreal, shoots out his ultimate, gets nothing, field goal for Ezreal. And that's going to be a double kill for the blue team.
And we saw some better coordination coming out there from the blue team than we did the red team. Lee Sin wanted to keep up with that gank, was not aware of the bot lane roaming up, even with the vision that we see coming out of that Scuttler. So it looks like the bot lane didn't properly communicate that, and therefore we had a numbers mismatch. And at that point, with the addition of the Victor ultimate, there was just no way that they were going to get out of there without at least a 1-for-1. Much better communication coming out of the blue team there for a good pickup, and no losses.
Big time. So that's a huge bonus for them. They're already up 1.6k gold right now over on the blue team. That's going to give them quite a bit of advantage. Unfortunately, did not give them the momentum they needed to also take down Dragon. But hey, I'll take it.
They actually had 4 members there after that play mid lane. I would have liked to have seen them either group up and either push that mid lane tower or go for the Dragon there. Nice binding though from long range.
Coming back in, this might be the end of the Caitlyn. She's actually going to go ahead and get back out of that with 600 health. Heals herself up with the potion, does nicely, but
Ezra's going to wish he had his ultimate there. If he had had that available, that would have been quite a bit more burst damage.
oh, absolutely. Down to 300 health. Zillion's running for his life, down to about 150 health. Here comes the Gragas. Not sure why he didn't go in to help out the rest of the team. He could have easily helped finish off the rest
At least
of
he
that
is poking around
Zillion.
back there, though, so I think he would have been able to stop him from advancing.
And here comes the
Here's the
Irelia.
flank.
Here comes the big-time flank. Forces the slowdown with the smite. That's going to be one dead Gragas. Even
Nice
if he
kill.
goes over the wall, it's not going to be enough. And that kill's going over to Dr. Dawes, so at least making up a little bit from the momentum lost earlier.
A good ward hop from Dr. Dawes, too. He was preventing Gragas from being able to jump over the wall by positioning himself like that, and he was kicked. We do see a solo kill again coming out from Aurelia in the top lane, really punishing this Gnar. It looks like he is now kind of trying to go for some of that extra health, but it's just too little too late.
Yeah.
She's already got plenty of lane priority, 30 CS lead, and almost a Phage in addition to her Sheen. That's going to be a really tough lane to come back from.
And don't forget that Off Knight is actually the captain of the team, where we selected some of the most powerful and highest, best playing players from the school as the captain. So it's not surprising at all to see Off Knight getting this much pressure on top of the Gnar right off the bat, especially since since Banwas over in the mid lane is the captain for the red team. So that Irelia is just going to absolute punish, just completely destroy the rest of the red team over with Banwas's team.
Taking a look at the CS here, we do see pretty good sizable leads coming out of the blue team in almost all lanes except for the bot lane. This is just going to help them push their priority in addition to their kills. I think once they do start grouping up, they're going to have a much easier time actually pressing their advantage, because once like we said in the loading screen, they do have that consistency of their engage with the Irelia and the Gragas, having a fairly easy time getting in there, and not seeing really any impact coming out of this Zillion pick in the bot lane. As a matter of fact, he has died once, and he's just taking a lot of damage. We do see Gragas wrapping around here for the possible dive. This could be big. No word there.
Looking for it, coming in right on top is wow,
Feels
completely missed that shot. There comes the flash coming in from Morgana, forces out the ult, misses the shot, doesn't matter.
Nice
Ezreal gets the kill. Gets the flash outside of kill bar, and he throws it right back into the fight. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Ezreal chose to switch targets.
We still have stuff going on in the jungle.
Yeah, there's a lot of going on. Both teams chose to switch around. Oh boy, lost Lulu, taking a lot of damage coming in from the Caitlyn ult. Still gets herself out just fine. The rest of the red team still want to fight. They are very much behind. They want to see if they can get any extra kills back out of this. But it does not look like
I think the most they
it's
could
gonna
get
happen.
here if they wanted is probably Dragon. Not going to be able to chase too well with their team. Lee Sin being the only one who could really catch up there. Looks like they are making a move towards the mid lane to get that rotation, possibly get some damage on there as Lee Sin returns to farm his jungle.
Still, I'm a little bit surprised at the lack of communication going on between these teams, right? We did see
in the top lane.
What's that? Oh boy, Samus taking a lot of damage from the Irelia again. She's up over 5 kills worth of CS. Like, she's got 3 kills as well as over a 30 CS lead.
Take a look at just the gold here. She's got almost a 2,000 gold lead on this Gnar. That's like basically a full item up on him, and he's now starting to build into what looks like a Warden's Mail. So it's just too little, too late for this Gnar. He started to build offense and got behind in the lane, and I think he's going to have a really, really hard time coming back unless he gets some help. And Dr. Dodge just is not coming up there. Really pushing that priority. Good on her to take use of that strong lane advantage before she even has Triforce.
Catches on, doing a little bit of chip damage to
Teleport bot
Bonwas. Here we go, right back into the bottom lane. Ezreal without his Morgana, but gets Kiyokami's assist.
Nice clip.
Beautiful ult coming in from Brokos. Getting
nice.
that final shot on top of the Caitlyn.
They even got the heal out of her there too. So she tried to heal to prevent herself from dying to Kiyokami's ultimate, which was a good thought. Did not see the Ezreal ult coming though, and it clipped her there just on the side, just enough to finish off the Caitlyn. Nice teleport by Kiyokami.
So very well done over the blue team, continuing to push to their advantage. We're only 16 minutes in, and yet we have a 5-kill, 2,000, about close to a 3,000 gold difference right now.
And here's where we see kind of some of this solo queue mentality coming in here from these teams that haven't really worked with each other. We still notice we have about a 3k lead, right, on this blue team. Not a single tower is among that. So they are grouping effectively to get these kills, but they're just not taking any advantages off of it. No towers, no dragons. I think that they can have a much more sizable lead if they did do that. And here we have Gragas coming
Tedefani's coming back in on top of Samesh, knocks him back, down about 300 health. Sorry, Gnar, I just don't think you're getting out of this one, says Off Knight. Scores the kill, 8-2, and just a bunch of solo pickoffs across the map.
And here we see just some good reads coming in here from the Gragas. He knows that his Irelia has priority in this lane. He wants to allow her to continue to push the advantage, possibly push that tower down. Comes in for a nice flank, and no good response from this Gnar who doesn't have the flash. Does give them the turret, and for the first turret of the game, we see now a 5k lead or 4k lead coming out from the blue team.
Tedefani's taking quite a bit of harassment from the Orianna, in the mid lane.
Nice binding.
Beautiful binding coming in. Dr. Dawes, you're getting cooked. Forces the jump over, doesn't matter. Here comes the Ezreal ult, field goal for him. And that might hopefully transition over into a dragon kill.
These bindings have been really on point for Lost Lulu. I'm very impressed. Basically, was a large contributing factor as to why they won that lane, even with the experience disadvantage, as Zilean does give an XP advantage. Very solid play. And just red team's not going to be able to get positioning here to contest free dragon for blue.
Absolutely, and that's going to allow a lot of extra pressure coming back in. Hopefully the rest of the blue team looking to actually rotate back to the mid lane. They might score an extra tower out of this one.
I think I'd like to see them continue to pressure with their Irelia. Currently, there's probably no one on the red team that will be able to deal with her 1v1. So if they keep that split push up and just maintain some pressure in the mid lane, that could be a very sizable advantage that they get out of having that pressure. Irelia flanking.
Further, we got that bait front coming out from Off Knight. There goes the shield going right away, down to 300 health. Gets the flash out, doesn't matter. Goodbye, says Kiyokami. Thanks for giving away my first kill earlier. I got a little bit of revenge. And they're able to push right back down the mid lane and maybe even pressure the tier 2 out of this.
They were able to trade flashes to get that kill and get the tower, so overall a pretty nice win there for the blue team. Never desirable to have to burn your flash to get the kill, but for a tower on top of it, I'll take it. And there's 3 towers down, all the outers cleaned up there by the blue team.
Here comes the shot from Lost Lulu. Beautiful binding coming in. Here says Off Knight, I want some more kills. Ultimate coming in from the Ezreal. Completely unnecessary, but we did know that Irelia wanted to feed the rest of the team, which was very kind of her.
And here we just see kind of a compositional mismatch coming in here. The blue team wanting to pick off these skirmishes with a lot of consistent engage and nice catches coming out from like Morgana. And the red team with their Orianna pick and their Gnar pick, they look like they wanted to have team fights, but they're not grouping, which is just allowing this skirmish team to just run them left and right throughout the map. like this fight right here, I don't think you don't want to mess with that Victor right now, man. He's pretty big.
Not in the least, and yet Samish is looking for it. Dr. Dawes dives in, gets the flash out of Samish. I don't think it's going to be enough. If Gnar goes back into this, Kiyokami's going to switch targets. Gragas says hello, here's my belly. Gets the kill on top of them. Doesn't matter. Kiyokami drops herself, as well as Dr. Dawes taking quite a bit of harassment. Tadafani flashes over the wall. Dr. Dawes says, no, Quebec, please, I need a kill. And Tadafani says, no.
We had another skirmish going on also by the top lane. No one ended up dying, but we did have a nice sombreroed ultimate on the Orianna there, so that was it's not going to be up if they have a team fight, but given how they've been playing, I don't think we'll see a team fight anytime soon. They are just allowing the blue team to run this game at their own pace, and we do see the blue going over to the Ezreal there.
Lost Lulu just can't do any damage to the Gromps. Every shot doing 0.5% health damage. This is just
we'll give her
doing her best
because she's landing those bindings on what she needs to. She doesn't have to worry about those jungle minions.
Not in the least, especially since you want to give that blue buff over to the Ezreal. That's going to be a lot of fun to see. He's already up to I don't see cooldown information unfortunately under this, but that's okay.
Oh, you can turn that setting on
right here.
Oh,
actually, I guess I can click on... Nope, I can't see that. That's sad. I mean, I can see he doesn't really have any other than potentially runes or masteries, but I don't get to see his current. That makes me sad.
Looking again, we do see Caitlyn has just now finished her first item in that Infinity Edge. Ezreal's already got his Triforce in addition to a pickaxe and another BF sword, so we're looking at a pretty severe item mismatch coming out of that bot lane. One coming out of the top lane. The only real lane that is even close in terms of power is the mid lane, but even then Kiyokami does have her Deathcat finished in addition to having the level 2, level 3, I believe.
We already see a big push coming back in from the Aurelia, back up in the top lane, scoring the tier 2 and forcing the rest of the red team to make a choice. Do you either want to fight 5v4 and lose a tier 2 out of this as we just run away laughing, or do you actually want to lose some extra towers no matter what?
Look what's going on in this top lane right now. We have to send 2 people to deal with this Aurelia, and before Caitlyn can even get there to contest,
here comes Kiyokami looking for it, gets the flash out of Dr. Dawes. It was just enough to get out of the fight, but unfortunately sacrificing the Caitlyn, gets the flash out of her too. Here comes the support, but I don't just think he's going to be able to do anything out of this.
Another on-point teleport from Kiyokami. Wasn't unfortunately able to pick up a kill, but does allow the pressure to yield in the mid lane to get another tier 2.
Gets a tier 2 no matter what they do. The blue team just completely just winning this fight, and there's just not a lot the rest of the red team over with Dr. Dawes and Boundless that they just can't do anything about this right now.
And again, it's just a misuse of their composition. They have these team fight abilities like Orianna Shockwave, Gnar Ultimate, and Lee Sin Kick for engage, but they're just not grouping. They are allowing themselves to be split up so they can deal with the split push, where what they should be doing is staying together and making the blue team respond to them. But I think they may just be too far behind now. We got a 10k advantage here coming in for blue.
Not sure in the least what the Ezreal was trying to
in the jungle.
Yeah, I think he's just going to get picked off anyway. Aurelia says hello. Gets the flash out, though, but I don't think that's a big of a deal. Obviously, we're having a little bit of a control issue with the Ezreal. Don't worry. We did see that one, buddy. Not only burning your ultimate, but as well your heal.
Oh, and here comes the Baron attempt from the blue team. This should be relatively safe. Lee Sin's dead, and we haven't seen any grouping coming out of the red team with Orianna split pushing in bottom. You're their prime team fight tool, bud. You shouldn't be the one split pushing down there. Not even a contest, no wards. Here comes Gnar just to see it die. Farewell, Baron.
Drops the ward after Baron even dies, so it doesn't even matter in the least. And that's probably going to signify the beginning of the end. What do you think? Do you think they're going to barrel straight down the mid lane and get the tier 3 there, or they're going to switch bot lane?
I don't see why not. It's fairly open right now. There's nothing this red team can do. Now, maybe they get the dream wombo combo right, but even if they do that, there's a triple threat comp coming out of this blue team. You have to kill all 3 of them, or else any of the other ones can clean up the rest of your team. With Morgana shield and Gragas disengage, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow there.
Especially since they just don't have all the damage that they just need right now. Oh, there goes the dive. Kiyokami wants it. Gets the kill on top of Bonwas. That's going to be a great start. Ezreal saying hello with his heal, or with his ultimate, his heal, what am I talking about? And that's going to be a kill for Brockus over on the Gnars. The rest of the blue team says, that's 3 on 5, we're going to take our victory right here, right now, storms up to the gates, and that's going to be a free tower.
And we see some really greedy positioning coming out of Bombwas on this Oriana. You have no business being in that front row, buddy.
Boy.
You need to be back there so that you can have that shockwave ready for your team fights. And once again, Lost Lulu coming out with some Lost Boy-like plays.
No kidding, coming
with
back
these
in.
fantastic bindings, enabling the blue team to get 2 kills there, an inhibitor and a turret. And I think
believe I'm hearing the surrender sound effects. GG being called from Dr. Dawes. That is indeed... not sure if that actually counts as a surrender. I don't believe it does.
I think it's a moral victory, if anything.
It is absolutely a moral victory, and they are still going to have to finish the game, but nonetheless, Dr. Dawes calling and congratulating their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing the Zillion ultimate being used. I don't think we've seen Zillion ultimate used at all this game.
Not once, unfortunately. I just don't think that there was enough of a necessity for it. Zillion was the one being picked off, and he was consistently trying to save it up for their ADC.
It seems like he's just never near enough to the fights.
Here comes the Lee Sin diving in on top. Pushes, doesn't matter. There goes Dr. Dawes getting pushed right back in her tower again. No more initiation. I just don't think that the red team has anything. Even if you were talking about your upcoming, their Wombo combo setup, right? What's going to happen? They don't have the items or the gold advantage that, look at this, we're near a 15,000 gold difference, right? 45k compared to 30k. They just don't have the items.
Yeah, to their credit, they're looking, they're trying, but...
They're doing their best.
You're just so far behind now, and the only person that you're even able to attack is this Gragas, who's on the front line. He's the tank. You're going to deal some damage to this Gragas, and he's not going to care. He's going to drink up some of his grog, and he's going to just be fine. Once again, Zillion dying without even using his ultimate on himself.
We haven't even seen Bonwas use that ultimate shockwave yet and pull anybody around. It just hasn't.
He has no opportunities.
No, not in the
we had the flash up on Gnar. I would have liked to see when he was Mega, maybe him flash into the middle of their team and Gnar ult him, and then see a nice follow-up shockwave there. But the communication's not there, or just the morale is too low. With that GG being called, maybe the players just aren't even really considering it at this point.
Absolutely. And on top of that, like you were talking about, what are they going to do? Gragas has got his... Oriana's going to throw the ball right on top of Gragas. What's she going to do? Pull him back? No. None the least. He'd welcome that. He would love it if you did that.
And he's not going to die from it anyway. So no. We do see some magic resist now coming out from Gragas too. She's not even going to be able to do as much damage to him anymore. I don't know. Still not even a single completed item on Gnar. We have a bunch of components there, not a single item. The only one who's even been able to keep up and farm here at this point is Oriana, but like you said, not one shockwave has been thrown. So when you've got the money, when you've got the items, but you aren't there to provide the skills, well, what does it matter? You can sit there, you can farm 5,000 CS if you want. You can have full build at 30 minutes, but if you're not present in fights, you're not using your abilities, all that money is wasted.
Absolutely. I think we've seen Gnar use his ultimate quite a few times just because it's such a passive. We've seen Caitlyn use her ult one time, and it hit the Morgana, which was actually her target. Nobody chose to tank that for the team, which was a little surprising. Oh boy, look at this Caitlyn. Just can't damage this creep.
Oh, she doesn't have any items.
She's got nothing.
She's on one item, no attack speed yet, other than her boots, no armor pen. And we've already got Frozen Heart on Gragas, and he's the only one that they can hit. Who else is she going to be able to attack?
Not in the least.
Nice fighting again.
Oh, coming on top of Dr. Dawes. There comes a lot of damage. He's going to jump right back out of it. Tedafani's pulled himself right back out.
And that's already the kick burn. So, that's another engage tool that's just gone. No R bar built up. I think this is going to be, at the very least, inhib 3. And if we don't see a victory coming out here, the minions will do it for them because they can't clear them out.
They're pushing right back in on the tier 4s as it is. Here comes the Ezreal ult. Catches on top of the support Swiftwing, and it's just not going to do anything else for the rest of the team.
Binding.
Look at the top of the team. There goes Samish dropping down. Well done, Morgana. Boy, oh boy, I'm calling you MVP right here.
Yeah, these bindings have been just on point. Another one. There it is.
Catches on top of Caitlyn. Goodbye. Says hello. And then there goes the rest of the red team. Everybody melting. Unfortunately, the red team not even breaking 5 kills. Gragas. Goodbye. Triple for Irelia. Give him a quad. Not going to happen. Is she going to get the quad? Aced anyway. Doesn't matter. Well done, blue team. All right. Well done. Absolutely easily giving Lost Lulu the MVP of that game. So congratulations. Love giving it to supports nonetheless.
And I just want to say again, we had some good comps coming out from both teams, but I just think the blue team played to their strengths much better. We had this nice skirmish comp with catch potential coming out of Gragas, Irelia, and Morgana. Morgana landing the bindings. Good follow-up from the team. Good communication, it looked like. Expert rotations around the map. Doing everything that they needed to do to win that game. Whereas, again, the red team comp wasn't bad. It was just a team fight comp. They got behind early, and we didn't see them ever actually use their abilities to team fight.
Yeah, exactly, right? And that's the big concern. Like, we saw so much ganking coming back out of... We did see Dr. Dawes doing a little bit of the ganking right off the bat, especially because he got ahead right off the beginning of the game, but it was unfortunately, it was off Knight's Aurelia that shook everything up. She just absolutely destroyed that Gnar, and there was no way that they were going to be able to come back from that.
We didn't see any help coming to that top lane. We saw Gragas coming up there and getting
quite a bit.
Fourth kill on Gnar. So, I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit more top priority to help mitigate that crippling loss, but I gotta hand it again to the bot lane. There was so much pressure coming out from those bindings that I felt like Lee Sin he had to be in that bottom half side of the map, because at any moment someone was going to die to like a Gragas dive, come looping from behind, or just some stray binding. So. A well-deserved MVP coming out of Lost Lulu on that Morgana.
Absolutely.
Nailing those bindings.
So we're going to take a quick break as we set up the next team. Please don't go anywhere. Promise we will be back in just a few moments, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you very much. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We're about to get started into the second match of the day. Now, if you take a look at the leaderboard bracket, which we have running right now, we actually see over in match E for the semifinals, Chow 52-52 against Zexen. That's going to be the match that we're going to be casting from here on. Now, it's very important to notice that from here on out, every team, both in groups E and F, are guaranteed riot points as well as more than one game remaining. Even if a team loses here, they immediately get bumped down into the bronze match, which is a best of one, to get either third place at 1800 RP or fourth place at 1000 RP. So everybody's walking out with something nice from this point on. That said, we are not going to cast the bronze match. We're going to be sticking over into whoever wins here is going to be moving on to the finals, who we're going to see compete and go for hopefully the 4000 RP as well as the Triumphant Rise skin. So a lot of matches going on, especially being a best of three going on from here on out.
Okay, so in this match we are actually doing a full pick ban, unlike the previous match in which we did blind pick. So we are able to kind of discuss each pick individually here. As you notice in our ban champions for the blue team, we have Yasuo, Anivia, and Gangplank. Now, Gangplank has been seeing a lot of hate lately from the bans because he's a very, very strong laner, and he's able to apply that global pressure with his ultimate. So not too surprising of a ban. Anivia has shown up a bit in Worlds lately as a good counter to aggressive pushing comps with her ultimate, as well as having a nice reliable stun on her skill shot there. And then Yasuo is just really, really punishing split pusher, and if he's played properly, he can be very, very hard to deal with, so not too surprising a ban there. Looking at the purple team, we have Fizz coming out as our first ban. Kind of like Yasuo, he's a very punishing assassin. He's able to go all in on the mid lane and take them out very quickly. Then we've got the Lee Sin and Elise, both of which are really nice, strong early game junglers. So it's possible with this Echo pickup that we just saw here, the purple team wanted to isolate, having that strong early lane dominance with their Echo and are able to get that early jungle presence for themselves and deny the enemy team from having it as well by denying that Lee Sin.
Now, I'm actually personally a big fan of already seeing Elatek's Peck over here. He may not be the captain, but I will tell you straight up, I do know his personality and character. He is going to dive a lot, so this is going to be a very aggressive bot lane, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially since we have the Tristana on the opposing side, and especially so if we actually see Kim Chicken, locking in on that Xin Zhao, that's going to be so much dive, and it's going to be an amazing little setup to watch. And further, I mean, Darius coming in on Ketogod, Darius, that's my bad. That's not what I meant to say.
Nowadays, it's fine.
That's not what I meant to say. Darius coming in on Ketogod, the teleport, so much dive potential. I'm going to have a lot of fun watching this match.
Yeah, this is going to be a big test of skill for this Tristana. She does have the rocket jump, but if she mistimes that and ends up getting CC'd by either Xin Zhao or Leona mid-jump, she's not going to be going anywhere unless she burns that flash. And we do see possibly a Nautilus lock in from the purple team. Now, that will provide a bit of extra safety for Tristana, but as we know, Leona's Zenith Blade, if it does connect, it will go to the furthest character that it hits. So, going to be a lot of going to need a lot of patience coming out of Gorilla here to avoid getting locked down in this bot lane. But we are going to see a fairly aggressive bot lane coming out of both sides, it looks like. Going to have to wait and see what the blue team decides to lock in for their AD carry, but it should be a very interesting lane to watch. Possibly a Master Yi getting locked in here. That's an interesting choice against this team.
Yeah.
Already looking at a lot of CC coming out from all three of the characters. Darius having only the pool as his form of hard CC. All right, we're moving away from it. So, yeah, I would not have expected Master Yi to be the pick there. With Leona being able to lock him down so effectively, he just was not going to have a good time.
Still not sure what they're going to lock into. I guess that's going to be a Jace because you ran out of time, buddy. And, that said, I am a little surprised. I was hoping for something a little bit tankier at first, especially since we've got the Leona coming in. We've got the Xin Zhao coming in. We've got the Darius coming in. That's just going to be... They need tanks on the purple team just to counter those.
It is possible that this Echo could be going jungle and be going... even if he goes jungle or top lane, I wouldn't expect him to go mid if he's going to build, but he can build tankier in either of those roles. For example, if he goes top lane, he can go the Abyssal Scepter Rush early, have that early magic resistance, still do a lot of damage. And in the jungle, we did see Cinderhulk being a common build path for Echo, which would allow him to get a lot of health and resistances, and just kind of use his persistent slows that he could just keep applying to everybody to just be a nuisance, and then use his ult to get away. Those are options we can't really say for sure until we see where everyone locks in to know exactly, because we got possibly two junglers here on the purple team with the Nautilus being a possibility, but most likely support. Looking at the blue team, I like this Veigar option quite a bit.
Oh, especially since we see Zexen as the captain for their team, so he's going to be a lot of fun to watch, provided that is indeed their pick, right? We're going to wait to see what the final rotations and shufflings are going to be, but Zexen over on the Veigar, that's going to be a lot of fun, and personally, I'm really glad we did not see that stupid little Teemo.
So if Xerath does get locked in here, we actually do see an interesting comp coming out of the purple team in a very strong siege comp. Now, this is a more mid-game reliant comp in that Jace and Xerath and Tristana both need a bit of time to power up, but when they do get some core items in there, they're able to push turrets extremely aggressively and from very far away. So I expect at that point, if they do end up locking this pick in, we're going to see a lot of priority placed on that mid-game and a lot of fast tower pushing. Looks like maybe not though. Zed, I like Zed a little bit less for that comp.
They're probably looking for some sort of assassination coming in against Zexen, right? They do know for a fact that Zexen being the captain, his Veigar is probably going to be a ridiculous setup, especially coming in against the Tristana. You've got I think that they're going to do a decent job against the Jace. They're going to have to assassinate that Veigar as quickly as possible, and especially if they can do that, at least right off the bat, I'm thinking that they might be having a good chance against the Sivir.
To the Zed's credit, it is fairly difficult for a Veigar to just pinpoint his stun, even if he knows Zed is coming on him, right? So if Zed does try to go all in on this Veigar, and he drops his stun, if he doesn't position himself properly, he's not going to stun the Zed. Zed will just deal his damage and jump back. We could see the quick assassination. It is also possible that this Zed pick was strictly done to not enable Veigar more than he already is, and that Veigar does have his ultimate that scales with the opponent's AP as well as his own. So if you pick a champion that doesn't have AP as his matchup, you only are going to deal with Veigar's base damage and not have to worry as much.
Yeah. So that said, you know what? I actually kind of like the way that the purple team's got this composition set up, right?
But look really quickly here. Look at this Jace. He still has that smite. That did not change. So this is a jungle Jace. That's I'm gonna go on record saying that is not a thing. No one does that. So while you can do it, I've seen people do it. I've done it before in like normal games, it's not going to be as effective as this Jin Zhao. He's going to be sitting there farming his jungle for a while. He's going to take a lot of damage. If this Jin Zhao comes in here and he invades, he's going to be able to probably kill this Jace at no matter which camp he's at, especially early game. I don't know why that pick was done. Possibly there was a swap issue, but the game wasn't remade. So it looks like that they did just opt for that. Considering the gank pressure too, he has just a slow and a knockback, and that's it. So the only lanes that he can pressure is the bot lane.
Yeah, this is. I'm very confused about this too. The possibility exists that Chao just screwed up and was cycling through so many champions that he just kind of fell upon this one, because we saw that locked in within the last second, right? So I think that they were even trying to figure out exactly what to do with the Zed. Well, maybe we figure out maybe the Jace can be moved over onto somebody else, and then they can give Chao somebody that would have worked a little bit better in the jungle, and that didn't work out because maybe a choice in champion pool. I think this might have been a bad setup. I like the composition. I don't feel like this was their intention, and therefore that's the weakness, and not the comp setup.
The comp would have been fine, I think, had they moved Jace to the top lane and given that Echo the jungle, because you would have still had that high pressure poke setup. Going for the turret sieging. Jace and Tristana both very, very solid turret taking champions. Both auto attack reliant. Jace does have that quick attack speed buff they can give himself. And Echo can clear the jungle just fine. He has good gank pressure. But junglers are not rich unless they get money kills. They don't make money, and Jace needs money to get his items. He needs to get that tier. He needs to get stacking. He's not going to be building defensive, so he's going to get torn up by the camps. I don't know what happened here. I would have probably preferred if this was a mistake, if something wrong happened, I would have preferred a remake. It's a friendly event. I guess we'll stop harping on the mistake though, and we'll take a look here at the blue team. Much more solid composition coming out of them here. I really like the Sivir pick. Does quite a bit to enable the rest of the engage. Sivir giving that move speed to all of her team will allow Jin Zhao and Darius to more easily stick to targets that could get away from them. And allow for Leona and Veigar to just set up their CC chaining much more easily. So the Sivir pick, fantastic. Really hard to lock her down with that spell shield. Even then, looking back at the purple team again, sorry I said I wasn't going to, but looking at them, their only real lockdown is this Nautilus, and possibly the Echo if he gets in to do some slows or his stun. But
especially since the rest of the red team, or the side with the Sivir, right?
Yes.
The Sivir's whole pick, they are all AD with the exception of Veigar, who is going to be a massive problem with AP alone. So what are you going to do? Are you really going to make sure that your Nautilus, the Nautilus is going to have to get the Aegis, right? They're going to have to. Normally you wouldn't want to do this until a team had more AP on the team, but you can't let this... You can't let the Veigar run rampant.
Sure, yeah, you can't ignore Magic Resist here. Like, he will pick a person on this team. The only person he can't pick on their team is Echo, right? Because if he picks Echo and Echo ults or has Zonias or whatever, that's going to be the only way that he doesn't just blow somebody up. But he picks Tristana late game, she's dead. He picks Jace or Zed late game, dead.
Right. And that's really going to suck, because that's a lot of AP that they're going to have to Magic Resist for one person.
And
the rest... Sorry, go
Don't
ahead.
forget, we also have Darius on this team, who's going to be sitting here with true damage. So if these fights get prolonged, and they should get prolonged, because there's no real burst potential except out of the Zed and possibly a Jace Q, which again will be less impactful because it's coming from the jungle. There's going to be not a lot of bursts coming out of this red team here, meaning that Darius is going to be in that fight for a long time. There's going to be a lot of people CC'd because of Leona, because of Veigar wall, because of Jin Zhao knockup. And Darius is going to get 5 stacks on somebody, and they're going to get dunked. And this is going to happen repeatedly. So
I want to see some dunks.
People are going to get blown up here. And that this just really points out just some smart thinking coming out of Green Things here. Picking a utility to carry, because he doesn't have to be the damage. He can just provide utility to his team, not die, and then provide pushing potential later on. And we do see an invade coming here from blue, but they are on a ward.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get started over on the team select. Just make sure everybody gets their recognition while they still can. So over on the blue team, we have Elatic on the Leona. We have Kim Chicken playing on the Xin Zhao. Kato God on Darius. Yup, we do see Jace calling GG no swap. They did intend to switch out the Echo alongside the Chow as the Jace, and it just didn't happen. So that did call it. That was what we were talking about as the concern. Nonetheless, we're going to go back to character select. Kato God on the Darius. We have green things over on the ADC Sivir, and finally Zexen on the Veigar in the mid lane.
Looking at the red team here, we've got on the Echo Weapon MCX, on the Tristana Grateful Gorilla. Looks like we do have a pause. It's possible they're remaking.
That is absolutely a possibility. Still, that should not take too long, so we'll go ahead and switch the camera back to the bracket. I guess this will work just fine. Just something to get it off the pause screen.
So should we confirm this pause before we?
Why don't you do that? I'm going to go find out real quick, and you just keep talking about the picks.
Okay. So looking again, I'll go over the red team here. As we jump back into you see the pause screen as Chris does go and confirm whether or not we are getting a remake here due to that swap issue that we were talking about. We do have the Echo with Weapon MCX in the top lane, possibly moving to the jungle. We have Grateful Gorilla on the Tristana. We have this Nautilus support on Jelfies. And we have Chow 5252 on the Jace. And Zed as Papa of Law coming here in the mid lane. Looks like there is... No remake?
No remake.
They're not remaking. They're just going to deal with the issue that they had with and just deal with it. So we are going to have a substantially gimped Jace here that they're going to have to deal with. But sometimes, them's just the breaks. As long as he doesn't get pressured too early, he won't suffer too much. He's just not going to hit his item thresholds as early as he would have.
All right, so let's go ahead and finish off the rest of the red team's introductions before we continue any further. Perfect. Well done. Thank you. Love it. All right, so interestingly enough, we still don't see a soul back up in the top lane.
Looks like they are doing the double jungle start, in which both the top laner and the jungler do the camps together in order to let the jungler take less damage, which is very important on this chase, but also let that top laner get level 2, and then he can teleport back to lane afterwards. It looks like we got that out of both teams. So both of them will hit that level 2 spike and teleport back to base. We did actually just have a flash blown out of the Zed in mid lane too because of a nice cage. But they'll teleport back up to the top lane and they'll be good to go at level 2.
So, interestingly enough, I'm actually kind of enjoying the way that this is going to be set up now. Both teams are choosing to actually go ahead and make do with the problems that they had set up, right? So, at least we've got a little bit of teamwork and coordination going on, even because of they're set up in a bad situation, right? So, unfortunately, the constraint brought innovation, as they say. So, looking forward to seeing exactly how the red team chooses to run this. And I gotta admit, I'm kind of looking forward to see how they try and run Chow as a jungler now.
I'm still skeptical. I don't know how it'll work out, but one thing I do want to point out that I did notice, we did have the Echo teleport back up the lane so he could get to that CS faster. Darius did not use his teleport, so that will be up in case we have any early skirmishes. It'll be interesting to see how he uses that, or even just to go back once he gets some item or some money and to pick up some items. So it should make for a better lane matchup than he would have necessarily had against Echo otherwise. We do see...
Oh, Leona.
We do see Xin Zhao already looking towards that top lane. Echo's getting that word down there, though. Not too much action going on in the early game.
Not a whole lot, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of collaboration going on. I'm actually a little surprised that the blue team isn't trying to take advantage of this and perhaps send that ridiculously aggressive Xin Zhao over toward the Jace. You can absolutely punish their jungle for this problem now and probably get a ridiculously early advantage from this.
Engage bot lane.
Big time. Back in the bot lanes, we see Jeffy's getting the hook right on top of Sivir, pulling the back in. Tristana getting absolutely wrecked in return, though.
Here we see some of that those aggressive supports coming out, right? I like that getting the priority on to the Tristana early, allowing some extra damage to come in on her, and not as much traded back onto the Sivir because she does have that spell shield and is able to deny some of the damage that would be dealt to her otherwise. So a little nice damage trade there.
So, still, I mean, it is going to take a little while for the Tristana to come online. If they don't, okay, back up here in the mid lane, we do see the Xin Zhao. Thought there was a ward from the Zed and chooses to back out of that. So
he is looking towards the top lane though. Just pinged it. Got a bit of a bloodbath going on as we do have another engage in the bot lane as well.
Lots of fighting coming back in. Xin Zhao's going to back. We're going to jump right back into the bot lane. And not a whole lot in either one of those scenarios, as a matter of fact. We even have an invasion coming in from Xiao over on the Jace.
So I initially liked this cleanse pickup by the Tristana to kind of help with the dominant CC of Leona, but I think she's going to be really hurting without that heal, and Xin Zhao does move mid for a gank.
Big aggression coming back in. He did not expect the Jace to be right there. Doesn't matter. Looks like Papa of Law is going to give... No! Does not give it away. And gets the heal off. Zexen still looking for it. Papa is going to go ahead and sack his life for the hope that Chao's going to get something out of it. Does get the flash. Wow, what a rotation there. Did not expect that. Very well done.
A nice evasion there from the Zed. Able to narrowly dodge and help that fight go on a little longer. Was able to force Zexen to burn his flash to get away from the Jace pressure. That's going to be really, really helpful for Jace. He did pick up that kill, so some of his early game issues that we were seeing are going to be mitigated by that early money. So a nice good pickup there. Did unfortunately trade back a kill to Veigar, and as we were talking about, if this Veigar's allowed to ramp up, it's going to be trouble.
Oh, big time. But at the same time, I gotta say, I'm not sure whether or not it was the right move for the Zed to not try and run away. He stuck around in that bush, hoping to see if he could assist that Jace in getting the kill. And even if he did not get the kill, which he did not, right? I'm just a little surprised he didn't try and run away.
I think he anticipated his damage was going to be higher than it was. Unfortunately, even with Veigar's spells being on cooldown, they did come off rotation enough. He actually did finish that kill off with his Q as well, which means that he does get the additional AP for having a champion kill. So he will, be stacking that Q up a little faster. Zed is rotating up.
Lots
to the
of
top lane.
coming back in on top of Kato God. Zed shows his face and chooses to run away. Unfortunately, it was a little too late, even without a ward. It was just bad timing.
Looking at this matchup too, we already see about a 10 CS lead for Kato God in the top lane. That is going to be a bit indicative of how this matchup is going to go, with Echo being a...
Oh, not the right time, Jeffy. Sorry. Here comes Elatek. Forces the flash. Gets in on top of Grateful Gorilla, who's going to drop. Goodbye, Tristana, as well as the tanky-chanky Jelfies. Jelfies, I guess, is the name, and is going to allow everybody to back out. Tristan is more than worth it.
So we did see Tristana have to burn that jump early, and as soon as Xin Zhao came in there with the nice positioning, he was able to force the flash and was able to follow up and get that third strike on there, knock it up. Even with the cleanse, you can't cleanse a knockup. That's actually one thing you cannot cleanse. So I'm guessing that Tristana did burn the cleanse in order to help to try to evade that, but with no knockup cleanse there, she was dead as soon as Xin Zhao followed up. Good flash play there to allow the Xin Zhao to get that kill.
So very well done over on the side of the blue team, able to take advantage of the opportunities that they've given themselves, and that's going to mean a little bit of extra pressure coming back in from their lane. Not sure how well that's going to translate, because we have now broken even on the gold.
And so yeah, surprisingly, even with that kill advantage, blue team is still even, which does show that the red team is farming quite well, with the Zed being up about 10 CS and Jace actually being up quite a bit on this Xin Zhao. Now that does make some sense, as Jace was able to get that lane CS after the trade that happened mid. So he did get his tier already. So maybe he will transition into that powerhouse that we were hoping to see faster than I gave him credit for.
Zexen going to go ahead and take their team's blue. We do not see the return blue getting picked up from the Jace over onto the Zed, but they're going to try and translate this into a nice dragon pickup. We do have the Tristana as well as the Nautilus. Well done for the red team. They knew exactly what was going on, so at least they've got some great team coordination coming in on their side. Elatek is going to go ahead and potentially drop a ward in, but it's just going to be too late, and they're going to get the dragon, and everybody else is going to get out. So very well done on the red team.
This is some good show game knowledge coming out from the red team. They recognized that the blue spawner was going to be up, and they saw that the mid laner was missing. So they knew that he was passing off the blue, which meant that they had a nice numbers advantage going towards the dragon. Just 4 stacked it, picked it up real quick. No return coming there for the blue team other than picking up their own blue buff. So just a really nice solid pickup from the red team, taking advantage of that game knowledge. Here comes Xin Zhao in the top lane.
Xin Zhao wanting to see if he can pick up on top of this Echo. It's going to be a little tricky because he does have ult, and chooses to back out and steal their red instead.
Jace is in the area, but like we were saying before, Jace...
Zed diving in on top of Zenzen, does not get the ring off in time, and that's going to be a nice little kill coming back in for the red team.
And we do see Jace and Xin Zhao seeing each other in that jungle up there, as they are picking a fight with one another.
That's the Xin Zhao I was expecting, gotta say. Sorry, I cut you straight
No,
off.
no, no. Yeah, Xin Zhao should win those early game duels. Jace needs the.
Oh, Darius wants the dunk. He says hello. He wants to see if he can come in. Zed saying hi, buddy. I want to see if I can get a piece of you too. And I'm just a little surprised. I did not expect Chao on the Jace to be this aggressive inside the enemy's jungle, and Xin Zhao should have been punishing this. He should have been just straight up diving. Perhaps
That was actually his jungle. So, so Xin Zhao was aggressing in his jungle.
Oh,
But
excuse me. Sorry. Yes.
It was unfortunate timing for Xin Zhao because the Zed was able to pick up that solo kill in the mid lane, which meant that he was able to rotate up faster, so therefore he could not continue fighting. And we did see a pickup there in the bot lane.
Yep, absolutely a little too aggressive coming out from Grateful Gorilla. Grateful Gorilla doing it. Jelfie is actually
Nice
gonna get the pull on top of green things.
She's gonna die if she doesn't get her spell shield up. No, not quite.
Nah, it's a little too early for that. We only see the BF coming out on the Tristana, so she just doesn't have the power yet. But nonetheless, dear God, their bottom lane is struggling now.
Yeah, we do see, just some
Teleports coming in from Kato God, looking for the rest of Jelfie's. Oh, nice hook, getting him back out of that Sivir ultimate, allowing the rest of the team to pick up and come back into the rest of the fight. And Zexen is going to go ahead and get the kill for that one.
Nice pickup there. Just a solid teleport to get the flank off there and enable that really easy pickup on the support that was just wandering around with minimal health, trying to get that vision out there. But you gotta make sure you have support from your team if you're gonna do that.
So little surprising
Nice
that they had the. One second, let's get rid of chat. We don't need to see that. I was a little surprised to go ahead and see that the Nautilus actually continued to dive there a little too far, especially without the Tristana right there.
Yeah, just a little bit of poor positioning there, got punished for it. But, the gold is still relatively even, with the only real advantage being red team with this dragon. So, I don't think there's any real big loss for either side so far. But, yeah, he does need to be careful about that positioning, or at least communicate his intent.
Elitic trying to
get in top lane.
Back up in the top lane, especially. We've got little fights and skirmishes going on all over the place.
Jace rotating up on him, too.
Oh, here we go. This might be yet another fun little aggression. Coming back in onto the Dive God, Kato God. Looking for the charge up. He's got the setup coming back in. He notices that there is no ward in the position. Here comes the pull on top of weapon. It might be a little too late. Still looking for the dive. Gets the teleport back in. Great job, Echo. Getting the flash back in. That's going to be a beautiful kill for Chao God. Or for Chao God, excuse me. Chao coming back up against Kato God. Well done, red team. They're consistently getting the kills.
And simultaneously in the mid lane, we did see a pick happen on the Zed. He did try to go in on the Vigar, but Xin Zhao was there, and he is going to bottom lane now.
Big wraparound coming back in. And Jelfie's, actually, here comes the flash coming in from Elitic.
Nice
Flash in on top of Jelfie's. That's a nice kill, not going to get him. Tristana trying, not going to get the shot on top of the Leona, and Elitic walks away free.
Solid follow-up there from the Leona, able to get the Zenith Blade, able to get the ult down, and doesn't die from the follow-up damage from Tristana. Good positioning there, good play. Well done.
Very good job coming around. And you know what? Surprisingly, this is also the first time that the blue team has gotten the gold advantage in. Sure, we're only 13 minutes in, but they've kind of had to play catch up this entire time, especially just seeing Chao be forced to rotate around. We've seen more ganks from him than we have with Xin Zhao.
Yeah, that's a bit of an unfortunate issue here. I was actually going to bring it up earlier, but now's a good time. If you look at Xin Zhao's items, he's actually running that Devourer. So he's not actually taking full use of Xin Zhao's early game pressure and instead opting to farm the jungle to try to get some mid to late game damage onto his build. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. He does have those early kills and assists though, which will allow him to get that item faster and stack it up faster. So we'll see if his investment does pay off in the long run. But I think I would have rather have seen him go onto the Warrior and try to really push that gank priority, because he's just going to be more effective than Jace if he picks his head out of that jungle. He's not even farming as well as the Jace. We got some issues there, but we do see the bot lane kind of posturing a little bit as Nautilus goes in.
As we do see that dive coming back down to the bottom lane, as Elitic has started to take all the harassment. Unfortunately, Grateful Gorilla actually choosing the wrong target and choosing to go aggro upon Elitic, which is interesting because perhaps that would be an opportunity if and only if.
Nice hook.
The great hook coming in from Jelfie's. Here comes the Tristana choosing the right target. Leona diving on top of Grateful Gorilla. This is going to be a battle to see who's going to get out of this one. Green Things is going to get out, but that's going to also potentially mean that Nobody's going to get away.
Oh.
Jelfie's great lockup, going to get the score on top of Elitic. Here comes Xin Zhao, ready to go ahead and fight. There comes the Jason on top of him. What a bloodbath coming back in. And that's going to be the end of the
Vigar up
fight.
top.
Vigar actually coming...
Not up top, but a little higher up.
Oh, excuse me. There's going to go Zexen coming down.
He's dead.
Pavlovlo wants this, is going to get the kill, and drive on top of Elitic, gets the flash on top of him. Here comes
Oh,
the
nice.
stun. Kim Chicken coming back in with the retribution kill. What is this?
Does clean up
3
the
for
net.
3, double kill coming in for the Zed.
And they're still pressuring.
And they still want it. They're going in for the hook, and they want it. They're going to get the kill. Shut down, coming back in. And, wow, what a setup. Just everybody wanting to fight everybody at this
And
time.
that's Dragon number 2 if they want it.
That's Dragon number 2. We do see the Echo trying to dive back out of this, but I don't think he's needed.
So, yeah, we did see some nice rotation calls coming out there from the red team. I don't think Echo was needed to come down. He didn't have his teleport up. He was trying to walk down the top lane. That did give the Darius the tower, and we do see a teleport coming
Oh, this is not what they wanted. Here comes Zexen with the Vigar. Gets the flash out. Not going to catch any of them. Gonna try, though. And Grateful Gorilla says, "Hello, buddy. I'd love to get an extra kill. Wow, thank you so kindly."
Yeah,
Gets the kill.
some bad positioning there from the Vigar did enable him to get caught out. But Jace does still pick up.
Oh, he
the
gets the pick up on it. Well done, Jace.
I hope
And
that
Chao's
worked.
he's gonna drop. Gets the kill. The stun coming out from Elitic. Gonna get the kill. But I mean, they got Dragon, but
It was still a bit of a misplay from the Jace there. He actually picked up the Dragon with his Shock Blast. Which meant he didn't actually need to get up to the Dragon to do anything else. He got a little bit greedy there, tried to go for the Sivir, and then realized that a Sivir with a BF Sword and a Pickaxe hurts a lot more than a Jace with Warrior Enchant and a Mount of Mune that's not stacked up fully. So he did pay for his hubris there. Just a bloody game going on, though. A really good one to watch.
very, very frisky fighting. Even so, we are only up 500 gold over on the side of the blue team. So not a bad startup, especially once we start seeing towers drop. We only see one tower going down, and that's up in the top lane.
We got actually an interesting role reversal going on here. We expected the blue team to be the siege comp that was going to be the one that was more prone to pushing towers, but they've actually been taking these dragon fights and have been winning out in the team fights by just having good presence and good rotations there. So a little bit of a surprise going out there. We'll see how these transition into the late game. Haven't seen Darius shown up to the fight yet, and that's actually going to be a big issue here as for the red team, as he does need to get some of that money on himself as well.
Sorry, Zexen, not going to get the Ring of Fame just yet, as Leona choosing to try and help out with the lane, not going to get anything out of it. And still, we do see a potential three-way dive coming in from the red team upon Zexen. Here comes the dive, and that's Zed popping down on top of everybody. Going to continue focusing upon Zexen. He's going to die. Although we do have the Echo focusing, gets the kill, going to pay with his life. No! Chooses to ult back out of it. Well done. Zex,
nice play.
beautiful coming back out from, and here comes the Jace diving right back in. Elitic forcing to flash right back out. What a big fight coming in. Gets the dunk, Kato God. Gets the basketball play, and everybody else is going to run back out. So a 3-for-1 coming from the blue team.
And we actually had another one picked up in the bottom lane as well, as the Sivir was able to pick up the Tristana there in what looks like it was a 1v2, and she able to come up on top.
Even so, back up in the mid lane, Kato God actually missing his shot against Papa Vlal, who was taunting with a teleport home. So they took a tower shot, doesn't matter, got the tower out of it. And as we do here, Green Things continue to push back on the bottom lane.
This might be an interior or a second turret in the mid lane for them.
They're scoring.
The wave, but that's a lot of damage on that. That was a really good pickup there for the blue team, as Papa Vlal just continuing to taunt with his low health. He's still at risk of dying if he does get hooked in, or they do get a cage or a dash. Not really advisable.
I mean, still, we do have nearly 3 towers dropping from that 3-kill advantage.
Yeah,
That's
game.
where the goal translated to. We're nearly we're 2,500
They're rotating
gold.
on this bottom tower now, so they're looking for that third tower. I think they'll have it. No contest coming out from red team.
Absolutely not. So that is the 3rd tower dropping down for the red team. For the blue team, excuse me. Kim Chicken continue to rotate. We're going to have another big fight. Here comes Green Things. Does not see where the fight is. And there goes Kim Chicken jumping right in on top. Zed continuing to get pick on Zexen. Does not get the kill first as the rest of the team continues to dive in. Zedzen getting a double kill. Looking for a bit more. Catches selfies. And that's going to be a 3rd kill. No, take it back. He's a little too tanky, but he certainly tried. Zexen continuing to prove that this Zed, the Zed needed to be doing a little bit better job against this Zexen right off the bat.
So that was actually fantastic patience from Zexen. He waited until Zed used his ult and came out of it before using his own ult. So he didn't panic in that situation. His ult was able to pick off Zed, and he didn't take any damage really from the death mark. Just really, really well played from him there. Was able to also get the stun that started the fight off with his cage there. So top-notch play from Zexen coming out there, really taking the use of all of Vygar's abilities. Almost got that triple kill too.
Little surprised that they didn't try and rotate up to see if they could get that extra tier 2 out of it, but at the same time, they should be more than happy with what they're picking up right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so I guess when I was talking about the ability for a team to siege earlier with the Jace and the Tristana, I neglected to also talk about the fact that it's pretty easy to siege when you have a ton of CC threat coming out from range, especially if you're able to just dive the tower with how tanky you are, and that seems like what is on blue team's mind right now as they do continue to aggress forward. Here comes Zed going after the Sivir.
Here comes the flash right on top of green things. Get a double flash out of him. Doesn't matter. Here comes the heal and the ignite. So gets the kill. He gets the flash. He gets the heal. And well done for the Zed, getting at least something out of all this.
It was an expensive kill for him there, though. He did have to use his flash there. He does have his ult now for this mid.
Diving on top of Zexen, getting the pick on top, just like what he wanted. Doesn't matter. Gets the turret first. That's going to allow the rest of them to continue fighting. Elatik and Kimchick can continue to aggress. Elatik is going to drop down first. Gets pulled in alongside as the rest of the team there continuing to drop. 2 down over on the side of the blue team. Red team wants blood. Tristana pops ultimate. That doesn't matter. The rest of the team is going to look for it. Kato God getting the pull back in on top of Chow. Going to continue diving back out. Sorry, Zexen. That was a little too late with the ring. The rest of the red team, they're looking for whatever they can pick back out of this, and I don't think they're going to find anything.
That was good use of the siege abilities of the red team there. Tristana was actually able to hang back in that back line unassaulted for a long duration of the fight, and here we see her getting even more poke damage out onto the Darius there. If the fights continue like this and she gets ignored, she's going to be able to put out a lot of damage and be able to clean up these fights by herself with her ability to reset her jumps. So if that does happen, we could be seeing even more effective resets than Darius can offer.
Absolutely, which is funny and interesting to note, just because you were talking about how well the Tristana was pulling off in that match. The Sivir is actually ahead in items right now.
Yeah, the big issue with Sivir is that she is a utility AD carry. So while she's going to be effective in fights, even with items, she's not going to be as much of a threat as this Tristana. But here we see blue team moving in for the dragon. Just a good opportunity for them to take it while red team was licking their wounds.
And it's a great time for them to go ahead and pick it up too, especially since the rest of the red team, if they would have picked it up, that would have been the very, very important 5% bonus move speed.
Yeah, and the third dragon does put that 5th dragon threat on there, so that was a very good denial from the blue team. Excellent awareness of the back timings and the fact that Echo was in that top lane.
So the rest of the team, both teams choosing just to go ahead and reset at this point, trying to lick their wounds, see if they can get their item count up, and see whatever they can push back into. Zed noticing that he could have potentially picked on the Sivir, but the Sivir a little too smart and choosing to back out.
Taking a look at this Vygar just because I was interested in his stacks, he's already up to 148 bonus AP just off of his passive. So he hasn't even built his hat yet. As soon as he decides to build that death cap, he's going to have a lot of bonus AP there, and he's going to be hitting like a train. Does have that level 11 power spike as well. Zed does pick up at bot tower with his split push, though.
So very good job coming back out from the blue team. They're only about 2,500 gold in the advantage, though, which is very interesting because...
Oh, Zed going on Sivir bottom.
Back down here in the bottom, he did find it. There goes the spell shield, does force the ult to be popped. And that, I think, will at least be okay for a little while for the rest of the team.
Mid fighting with Tristana.
Big fight, as we do see the Echo go ahead and blow the ultimate right off the bat. Doesn't get anything out of it. Tristana actually picking off the Veigar. And so many fights all over the place right on the map right now. We do see Papa of Law Zed actually looking for a potential flank coming back in. The rest of the blue team doesn't see his position. Oh, they did see his position. I apologize. They saw his ward position. They're going to choose to potentially re-engage on top of Zed. Not going to choose to do so. They do find Chow, and that's not a good position for you right now, buddy. You need to get back out. You're not the jungler that Kim Chicken is. And the rest of the team gets a couple of shots off on him, but it's just a bunch of tanks. It's 2 tanks against the entire blue team. Here comes the Zed, right in, trying to assassinate Kim Chicken. Not going to get it. Continue to... And there comes the ultimate from Elatik. Forces out everything. Everybody's dropping and everybody's going to go down. Great try, but unfortunately the blue team's looking to win this fight. They're going to get the double kill over on Leona. I'm actually shocked. Leona had a picture-perfect ultimate there. I thought it was going to go completely in their favor. And unfortunately, the red team just continues to pick them off. We still have 2 left on both sides. Tristana looking for the pick. gonna get the pull right on top. Doesn't matter. Zexen gets the kill. That was not the right move, buddy.
And as we saw there, that fight was a bloodbath, but the big difference here is the choice to take teleport on Zexen. He was able to teleport into that fight and be relevant, whereas Tristana was still coming back from base. So they were without one of their best carries in that fight, and that's one of the core reasons why the red team did not come out on top, even with that excellent Nautilus stun into the Echo stun follow-up to really nullify the usefulness of that otherwise fantastic Leona ultimate. But yeah, props to Zexen for his awareness and for taking that and for really making use of that ability there. Was able to really turn the tide of that fight and to get an extra kill on the bat due to Tristana opting to try to get a kill that just wasn't there for her. Here we see Baron pressure coming out.
They want to absolutely pressure something. The interesting thing was, out of that entire fight, right, they actually, at the end of the fight, before the fight, they were actually 2,500 gold behind. At the end of it, they were 2,300 gold behind. So technically, the red team got an advantage, but the blue team just made that 200 gold back up easily after the fight had been completed. So they just neutralized the entire fight difference coming back out. So at that time, I'm going to have to say the blue team actually were able to win this, because anytime you can keep that advantage, it's just going to be huge for them right now.
Oh, for sure. And if they can keep picking these opportune fights where they don't have the carries of the red team there, or they're able to isolate them, they're going to be able to clean up these fights easily. As we said, they have hyper-scaling champions on their team. Darius is still useful at all points of the game with his ultimate. As they catch that Echo up in the top lane, he is being forced back. And Veigar, as the one AP threat, he's going to be able to just pick somebody and kill them. And we look at this Nautilus build, where's the Aegis? I don't see it.
Not in the least, and I'm a little surprised about that. We don't even have any form of magic resistance coming back out of him. He's got a Sunfire Cape. That's going to do nothing for the team. There comes the engage coming in on Chao. Sorry, buddy, you're still not all that strong. Green Thing is going to claim the kill for that one, but we did see the entire blue team getting that pick so easily.
Yeah, nice chain CC going on there. We had the Leona Zenith Blade falling up into the cage there. He was just going nowhere, and we're able to just pick that up there with the move speed from Sivir. Good call.
So now we're reaching nearly a 4K gold lead coming in from the blue team. They're looking to start pressuring in the mid lane. Dragon's going to be coming back up in about 70 seconds, so they can't take it just yet. Perhaps they rotate in the bottom lane, take a tier 2?
It looks like they're poising to at least push out the lane, at least prep for this dragon, get some ward coverage. I like that idea. If they can clear out the wards, get the vision advantage in that lane, they can safely go back and be prepped for dragon with their money that they got from that previous fight. Nautilus is going to get caught out trying to ward here as well.
Especially so important because the Nautilus has just been very aggressive for his positioning and lane placement, which was a little interesting because the rest of the team will follow him eventually. He usually tends to be a little far in front, and then the rest of the team kind of says, no, buddy, we need to pull you back in, and they will flank with him.
To his credit, his item choice actually does allow him to be a good front line against most of the team, and I don't think Veigar is going to really be opting to try to look at the Nautilus. However, he is leading the rest of his team out to dry by not going for that Aegis. So the rest of his team will suffer while he'll still be able to safely tank the majority of the damage. And actually, we might see red team getting positional advantage here on the Dragon, even though they were forced back previously. So a bit of a misstep here from the red team as Nautilus is able to safely sit in that bush. But he can't really deal with Darius and Leona walking in.
Nonetheless, get one last good look at the scoreboard down below because it's about to go away for this upcoming fight. We're going to see an absolute bloodbath. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch. $20 says Elatic is going to be the one initiating upon this team. Does find the Nautilus right off the bat, but you're not going to want to dive in on top of that. We don't see the Tristana just yet from it. Big Chicken choosing to dive in, pushes everybody out. Here comes the Sivir ultimate, pushing everybody away. Here comes the great startup coming in from the Echo, who is going to drop all the sane. Kim Chicken continuing to pressure in. Grateful is going to get the kill. No, I take it back. Chao's going to get it. Great rotation coming in. 2 for 2 coming in both sides. Tristana says, no, I want a bit more. Kato God, a little low. Gets the jump in. Or the force to flash out. No, not. Does get the kill on top of him. Doesn't matter. There goes the rest of the Tristana. 3 down on both sides. Both teams want it. Chao looking for something. Papa of Lol is able to pressure the rest of the team out. They did want to pick up Chao, and he's going to go ahead and teleport back home. Boy, oh boy, what a series of fights. 3 for 3. I mean, even at this disadvantage, the rest of the team, the red team, they're not able to... They're only at about a 3K gold disadvantage at this point.
Yeah, and it's going to become harder and harder for this blue team to deal with this Zed. He actually, Papa of Law, I got to give it to him that fight. He had a very, very good flank, was able to zone out and take out Veigar all by himself. Without that Vygar threat in that fight, all of a sudden, the armor prioritization of the Nautilus becomes huge, right? If you don't have Vygar in the fight at all, if he gets picked off by the Zed, who cares if no one has Aegis? They're able to just sit there and tank that damage, and we do have Echo also getting the Warden's Mail and the Zonias, so we do have quite a bit of tankiness coming out of those two characters for the rest of the team if Vygar's not present. Looks like we will have this Dragon 3 coming out.
But at the same time, I think the blue team is going to be looking for Baron.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's actually a pretty good call from them. They have complete vision coverage. The red team, now realizing that possibly Baron is an option, is kind of pulling back from the Dragon, but no, they're not running.
Oh, look at it melt.
They're not running for the Baron. This is going to be free.
They're doing literally nothing. What are they doing? I think they were expecting a bait.
Fantastic call for the blue team. If you actually noticed earlier, after the end of that Dream fight, they did ping the Baron, so they were actually planning this the entire time. Red team now responds with the Dragon 3, but the Baron buff onto this blue team is going to make sieging that much easier for them, and it's already going to make the fights that much harder for red team to win.
And that seriously cost them. The red team just completely choosing not to actually initiate on top of it. They should have at least weighed out the pros and cons of not just diving straight for the Dragon right off the bat. They expected a bait, right? And I don't fault them for this. But at the same time, that ended up just costing them just that chance to at least go in and do something instead of just goof off and just, I don't know. I'm a little surprised at their
It was
inability.
honestly just poor map awareness on their part.
Yeah.
As you can see, most of the lanes are actually pushed out in the red team's advantage, mid lane notwithstanding.
Papa's going to drop very shortly. Here comes Zexen. And it doesn't even matter. Kim Chicken is going to go ahead and get a solo kill.
We do actually see that State of the Valor finally being completed by him. It's been most of the game that he hasn't had it, but now that he has it, Xin Zhao's power increases exponentially. He's able to attack much faster, does much more damage on hit, and able to out-sustain any of the Zed bursts. So the threat that was coming out of this Zed split push previously is going to be mostly nullified, as this Xin Zhao can just come and deal with him as he pleases. And they have Baron, so there's no threat of that either.
Flashing coming from Elitic, gets the pull down, force, doesn't matter. There goes Weapon MXX on the Echo. Here they want a bit more. I'm a little surprised. How did Tristana get out? Oh no, they had to have cleansed, couldn't they? So it doesn't matter. Here comes the rest of the fight. Jeffrey's also forced to flash. Doesn't matter. Goes down. Cage brilliantly done. Zexen taking a lot of harassment from the tower, but what's it matter? Nobody else on the rest of the red team is anywhere, and this is such a free inhibitor.
I think this might even be the game. They can at least pressure in those interior turrets, although that shot was nice and does make them have to rethink their call. Maybe they just played safe, take that tier 2, get the money where they can take it. But there he is on the wrong side of the map, buddy. You can't use those gates.
Great little shot coming back in from Chow, at least forcing the flash. Why are you diving back into this? Gets the flash over the top. Doesn't matter. Kato God says, hey buddy, waiting for you. Gets the dunk. Goodbye, says Kato God.
Hextr, in fact, does not do anything against true damage. So.
Not in the least. So, great little startup coming from Papa from Law, looking to dive on top of Elitic. A little surprised you would dive on top of the tank. Doesn't matter, gets the kill. Kato God continuing to dunk for lulls. And there goes Weapon of MCX, continuing to dive back in. Red turret goes down, back up in the top lane, so they get it all the same. Here comes the rest of the team. Kim Chicken continuing to dive back in, looking for it. Here comes the flash coming from Kato God. Gets the Tristana. Jeffries is the last man standing, and what's it matter? The tank just continuing to walk back to base. Well done, says the rest of Zexen's team. There goes the tier 4s. Here comes the beautiful pulling coming from, choosing to at least give the ace over to the team in a manner of respect. Teleports coming home, and there goes the inhibitor. Chalice does wanting to continue to say hello. Don't think he's going to get the kill in time. He's not. Woo! Fights until the end. Well done, Zexen.
Zexen. Just some greedy play and not good map awareness coming out there of the red team at the end of the game there. They really just kind of started throwing their lives away, and it looked like they were kind of feeling the pressure of that Baron buff at the end. Well played from the blue team. A lot of nice CC follow-up. Excellent follow-up from the team when the CC did land. And just an overall stellar composition. They really played that composition to their strengths. Made that great Baron call. Were able to prioritize that early on. And just pushed it to the end. Just really solid play.
Absolutely. Gotta give props over to the red team, though. They did an amazing job. Unfortunately, they kind of screwed themselves with that initial pickup. Not the greatest start over there, especially, they did call it in chat where their fault lied, right? So they had to make do with what they had. They did a damn good job with it. I'm not entirely sure how that would have panned out, provided that they made the correct choice at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we just look at the Echo, it kind of really speaks to it, right? If he had been in the jungle, he may have had more of an impact than he did. He went 1, 6, and 9, so he was present in some of those fights, but he just wasn't getting the items he needed. He had to force the build tank because he just wasn't very effective against that Darius. Lost the lane to him. Really lost a lot of priority. Props to Jace. He was able to actually make use of the strengths of his kit fairly effectively. But when you just don't have the items on the Echo, you're basically playing a 4v5 there. And as we were saying, no magic resist coming out of pretty much any characters. Don't even have Merc boots, Merc treads out of most of our team members. Nautilus even opting for the Tabby for the extra armor. So that Vygar was able to get a lot of damage out on the team, a lot of kills picked off from his ultimate, from just his Q spamming. But everyone on the red team or blue team played stellar. So
yeah, that's going to be really hard to give anyone on that team an MVP. I mean, we had the amazing ultimate coming back from Elitek, picking on 4 back in the mid lane. We saw the Kato God consistently applying pressure, getting the pulls whenever they needed to, kind of messing up a little bit near the mid lane, near the end of the game, trying to pull back in. I think it was Chow who was taunting at the tier 2s. That's that's going to happen. You're not going to want to make that dive,
though.
Right?
One or two tiny errors doesn't change the game. He was able to provide consistent pressure to that top lane. Was able to invalidate the Echo, make him not a character, and he was just a substantial threat in the team fights. Able to, if he didn't pick off the kills with the dunks, he did a large chunk of true damage. Was present most of the time. Even if he gave up some of that pressure early, it did not matter. Who cares if you got 3 dragons if you lose the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that said, it's going to be really hard to give an MVP over to the blue team. I would like to go ahead. Oh boy, who do you want to give it to over on the blue team?
If I had to pick somebody, I think I would probably pick Zexen. Just because he had a lot of stellar cages in there, and he, was the kill leader. I wouldn't be surprised if he did the most damage on his team, and he really made use of that high AP threat coming out. Knew what he had to do, had good patience. That'd be my pick, but honestly, anybody on that team would deserve it. They all played phenomenally.
Absolutely. And that said, I still want to, even under that circumstance, we know the blue team won, and I agree that Zexen gets MVP. I want to give a notable shout out over to Papa of Lol over on the red team. He's did an amazing job consistently trying to apply pressure onto Zexen, over onto Sivir, on Green Things to Sivir. Doing a great job. Did try and even initiate a little bit too much on the Elitek near the end of the game, but I mean, what else are you going to do when Elitek's just diving?
That was just the desperation I needed. I want to kill.
Yeah.
He ended up getting locked down as soon as he went in. If he'd gotten out, it might have been a clean pickup. But yeah, I think
don't fault him.
I think he was a victim of circumstance. Really, he was doing his job. He was split pushing. He was able to duel people until the Jin Zhao got his items, and had they had that that priority in the top lane, had they had Echo that was more primed to be useful for their team, he could have gotten away with that split push. I think they would have been able to pressure a lot more effectively. But with Echo being as gimped as he was, being forced into the tank role, not being able to do much damage, not even getting tier 2 boots, which is part of the reason that he got caught later in the game, the Zed just wasn't able to split push, and they were able to rotate down there fairly easily and get those kills. But yeah, overall, a nice solid game from both sides.
Absolutely.
Blue team coming out there making full use of their CC chaining, high damage carries. Excellent work by them.
So before we go to break, I do want to remind everybody that this is still not over. Both teams are still in the running. Elitek's team is moving on. Zexen's team is going to be moving on into the grand finals. They're guaranteed a bare minimum of I think it was
3,000. You said
2,000, something like that. So they're already guaranteed a massive
$20.
amount. Yes, over $20 worth of RP, right? But over on the opposing side, Chow's team, they're still going to be going on to the to a third place matchup. So we're not done by the least. We have a bare minimum of 2 more games going on for the rest of the day. Please stick with us, and we will be back very shortly. Thank you so much, and we will see you here in a second. right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for sticking with us this long, but we're not even half done just yet. We're going to go ahead and switch over into the actual match now, and this is the beginning of the grand finals. This is going to be a best of 3 match between Team Zexen against Team GTG June. Now, one thing that you'll want to know right off the bat that's kind of important, the player over on the red team, GTG June, best Katarina player in the world right now. That's kind of a big deal, which is why you see that banned Katarina right off the bat. We were not able to see any of June's previous matches, but we did hear about how the opposing team made the mistake of not doing their research and choosing not to ban the Katarina, and thus completely wrecked their opponent team. So, looking forward to this match. This is going to be an epic series.
Yeah, it looks like it's already going to be an exciting one. We do have some odd bans coming out initially. Some of them are expected, but we do see the Katarina that is specifically targeted at GTG June, as well as the Jace ban coming out there, which is a little bit unorthodox. Jace not being particularly meta outside of our last game when we saw him being taken in the jungle. So possibly that put the fear in them because it was more effective than they anticipated. Kalista, a pretty solid AD carry, brings good utility, has high damage, good objective control, so that's a solid ban there. Looking at the purple team's bans, Vygar, a very prominent AP mid laner right now, able to fully blow up somebody if he's given the ability. Sivir, a very nice utility AD carry, respectable damage, very safe with her spell shield. And then Echo, a nice flex pick, able to go mid, top, or jungle, and always also very safe. So let's take a look at the picks we got so far.
So I'm not surprised to go ahead and see Kato God's Darius being picked right back up again. That was absolutely crucial pick to their match in the semifinals. So glad to see it back here, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the purple team is going to actually be playing with this.
Yeah, he applied a lot of pressure in that top lane, was able to be a nice solid split pushing threat, and when it came to team fights, he was able to get off those resets very effectively and able to keep himself alive long enough to really put out a lot of damage. So I think he'll be effective here, but he does take the risk in that they did take that first. So I'm interested to see in how purple team plans to counter this. Looks like they're starting off with a Vi and Soraka. Now I don't know how much I like this initial combination of champions. Vi being an all-in jungler that picks a target and tries to kill them, and Soraka being a support that is there mainly to keep their carry alive. If they do lock in this Caitlyn, which they just moved away from, then they'll be looking for more of a safe lane to try to just kind of survive and maybe do more like a hyper carry. So that wouldn't be bad, but I don't know. They're not really synergistic. You're not going to be really getting many ganks off in a Soraka lane. Looking, however, over at the blue team, I like their picks a lot more, with the Elise being a very, very, very solid early game jungler with that ranged stun on her Cocoon, as well as the execute damage on her bite. And the Leona to also provide that hard engage and also make up for some of the tankiness, which will allow the Elise to go more damagey if she does so choose, which we have been seeing a lot of Elises lately go Runeglaive. So that looks like a very strong combination there.
So I am actually really, really excited alongside what you were saying. Green Things taunting with the Teemo pick a second time. I am excited to see exactly how the Elise Cocoons are going to just stick and allow Eletic on the Leona to just dive. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be so much fun just to watch. That's got to be at least 5-6 seconds worth of total stun time lockdown.
Yeah, if they get a pick out on somebody, I could very easily see Cocoon into Zenith Blade, into Darius Pool, into Leona stun. Like the CC, the amount is just like extraordinarily high. So we do have a nice mix of single target engage here from the Leona and Elise Cocoon, but we also have a lot of nice AoE coming out of Leona with her ultimate, so that'll be a good mixture there for the team fights. Looking at the purple team, though, it does look like they are opting for that safe lane with the Vayne. Vayne can brawl early if she does have an aggressive support, which is something they could have possibly considered, but you can't really pick something like a Blitzcrank into Leona. And Thresh, you have to be pretty good with Thresh in order to really stop Leona from doing which she wants to do anyway. So this Soraka will help at least keep Vayne alive in the early game, especially against this potent Twitch Leona lane that we see here. Very unsafe lane, but very strong if they get what they want to have happen.
Yes. Especially with all the harassment coming down. Really, that's the only true way you can really slow down a Leona so easily right off the bat is just harass her before she hits level, sometimes even level 2, depending on how aggressive that team is. So seeing that kind of harassment coming out from the Soraka, just keeping the poke lane and the just the overall lane composition pushing back in their favor, I think that's going to be a smart setup as well. I mean, the Twitch is a good pickup right off the bat, but I gotta say, it's just not going to allow... I'm a little concerned on how easily Twitch is going to be able to follow up on Leona. Maybe I'm just smoking something, but I'm expecting the Elise Leona combo to be amazing, but I'm not so sure about the early game Leona Twitch.
Early game, I agree. I think that there's not a lot of follow-up there, but late game, or like mid-game, once Twitch hits that ultimate, he does get that large range increase during the duration, as well as the piercing damage. So if Elise or Leona do get that nice pick, and Twitch does have his ultimate available, he will be able to follow up with that from a long range and be safe from pretty much all threats on the purple team. Vi will have to go pretty deep to get to him, and even then, if she does go for him and he's in the back line, Fizz is going to be on the front line. So the Fizz is like a nice good pick to also follow up. He does also bring some AoE with his Shark a little bit. But he will mostly be there to probably really punish this, not super high amount of threats comp that we see out of the purple team. Now I say that it's not super high threats because I don't expect this Gnar to go damage unless he gets ahead, and it's going to be hard for him to get head against Darius, especially if Elise shows up top lane. The Vladimir can go either way. Honestly, that's a swingy matchup. If Fizz doesn't get an advantage from somewhere early game, Vladimir Sustain will just outmatch him. And we do see a very greedy build coming out of Fizz here, opting to go for the Teleport Ignite. That means no defensive summoners coming out there, so he's going to have to rely on that Troll Pull to get out of these engages here. And as soon as it's down, if Vi follows up on him, he's going to be caught.
So I'm actually a little concerned because I haven't seen a couple of pickups that I've been expecting to see that I have not. We have not seen Mordekaiser played. We have not seen Jinx played. Tristana has not been getting the pickup phase that I've kind of figured that they would be. So I'm actually really surprised. What are your takes on that?
I think for this match, the main pick is actually not that bad. Whereas, I could have agreed that you might see. One of those, something like it could have been a decent time for Mordekaiser to show up with Soraka, But Vayne is particularly effective against tanks, and here we have a possibility of up to 3 tanks should Kim Chicken opt to go the tanky Elise build, and she most likely will after she gets Runeglaive to go tankier. But we're going to have Electic and Kato God probably building a lot of armor. So with that armor, having true damage from the Vayne is going to be very important, and she does basically get all that damage for free with attack speed. So that'll be really big if she does manage to survive this early mid-game and is able to go off without getting punished too heavily by the extraordinarily high amount of CC on the blue team. That is going to be tough, though, considering she doesn't have Cleanse, and if she does want that Cleanse, she's either going to have to rely on Soraka to get the Chalice upgrade. Mikhail's, there we go. Or she's going to have to buy herself a Quicksilver Sash, which if she buys Quicksilver Sash, now she's still later build. So it's a bit of a tricky situation.
Yep. So I am a little concerned. I'm looking forward to this match because we see so much potential tank and just straight up aggression coming out from the blue team, and I'm not seeing the synergy right off the bat with the purple team, other than a lot of mobility.
Yeah. No, they're really confused for their identity here, I think. So they do have a decent chase potential with Vayne, Vi, and Gnar constant slows with Boomerang. And if Vlad gets Rylai's, that's going to be like some decent CC. But they kind of are towing the line between a pick comp and a teamfight comp, because we have Vladimir and Gnar that are both really, really solid in teamfight. But Vi doesn't really provide the greatest amount of teamfight presence outside of the one-person lockup. And if you're catching one person, you don't want to drop a Vladimir ult on that person. Mm-hmm. You don't, if it's only one, you don't want to drop like Gnar ult on that one person. You want both of those to be hit on the big team in general. So I don't know if I agree with the Vi pickup. Looking at the rest of the team, something like a Gragas maybe would have been a lot nicer here. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's too late to go and make that change now. But I don't expect this Vi pick to be as beneficial as this Elise is going to be here, because she just provides the same single target CC but from range and has the execute. And we do have the follow-up with Leona and Darius also able to provide pressure. So it's going to be tough, and Vi's going to have to get some good picks early to really make this work.
Yeah, and that said, I think it's still going to be a lot of fun to watch overall anyway. So I'm absolutely looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a blast. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the call-outs and really introduce these teams right off the bat. Over on the blue team, we have Elatic on the Leona yet again. We have Kim Chicken running the Elise. Kato God doing the second game in a row over on his Darius play. Green Things on the ADC with the Twitch. And finally, Zexen on the highly AP Fizz in the mid lane.
And looking at the red team, we've got Elielka on the Vi, MG Taunter on the Soraka, GTG June on the Vlad, Lifehack on the Vayne, and Kimchi Caps up there on the Gnar. So we do have blue posturing for an invade here. This is going to be spotted out by the red team, though. But they're outnumbered, and they're going to have to back off here.
Wow, we even have a big initiation coming from Leona, forcing the flash back up from the Vi. She's going to lose half her health. But oh boy, that's going to be a rough start for them now that they don't even have the jungler flash.
There's a trade of flashes there and a bit of a pressure applied to the Vi, but ultimately I would have liked to have seen more commitment from the blue team there. They were 5 stacked. They had the stun. The rest of the team really should have followed up there and really tried to make that play work. At the very least, I would have liked to have seen one more flash to at least try to put some more pressure. But maybe it's more beneficial that we just had the trade there. The support for the jungler flash is going to be a lot less pressure that Vi can provide now when she does gank, because she's not going to be able to flash Vault Breaker to get that knockup. And it looks like we're going to have that double jungle out of Darius again to avoid his slightly bad matchup against Gnar. I like that decision from the Darius player.
Absolutely. So now that we're going to go ahead and get back started with the game, it's good to go ahead and actually see normal junglers again, I have to admit. So that's going to be a good start and a lot of fun to watch over there. But we do still see the double startup in the lane going over on the side of Zexen's team.
Yep, just one benefit of that teleport. He is able to mitigate some of his early weakness against the Gnar and just come back with some more potions. Already, though, we see some bullying coming out of this mid lane. The Vlad onto the Fizz, really denying him the CS there. And Fizz playing really scared. I guess he's just going to let Vlad push him in here and just try to clean up as much CS as he can. Without some help here, though, this is going to be a tough lane, and looks like Elise is already looking to make it tougher.
And there's not... Oh, here we start to get the fight. June actually getting caught out of position, was taunted into place, coming back in from Zexen. So well done there. Not a whole lot else going to it, so it's too bad we didn't see that aggression, but at least it's spooking June.
They did catch him without his pull there, too, and that's probably not going to be the case once he hits level 3, so that might have been their best time. Some aggression going up on top lane.
As well as bot lane.
He's getting pushed in.
Both sides just starting to go really for fight potential, especially now that they saw the Elise going back into the mid lane. I think was their cue to start picking fights.
Yeah, they are pressuring really hard for a Vayne Soraka lane here. They're pushing in quite handily, and they don't have the river warded, so they would be...
Oh, Kato got caught. Sorry, I keep going.
But it's some good awareness to see that Elise would go to her blue, so it's a good time to start pressuring that lane now. So good map awareness on their part, as we do see the fatties up top just kind of throwing back and forth right now with Darius making full use of his passive there to try to help burn out some of that advantage.
Still big aggression coming back in from Zexen's going to land. No, June's going to deny that by going into the blood pool. Still a little bit of aggression. Both sides going down to about 300 health. And we do see potentially an Elise coming around to gank. And furthermore, Vi is right there too.
Good back and forth coming on mid. Something to take note of. This Fizz has a...
starts up the ignition. There's the flash on top of June. And that was enough to force out the flash. And Zexen, I think, is going to take that.
So this looks like it's going to be an 80 Fizz. Now, he could end up changing his build around, but 80 Fizz is something that most people had written off as dead after they made the changes to his ult. His ult used to apply a percentage damage buff for all sources when he hit something. Now only applies the magic damage. So 80 Fizz, not as good as it used to be. Still looking like it's going to be somewhat effective against this Vladimir. Fizz does have good base damages. And here we come having Elise at the top lane.
Ready to pick on Gnar. Gonna get the blue buff start on top of him. Gonna force him back out. Really not a whole lot else out of it. Comes the jump back in. She wants the pressure. Nicely started up coming against from Kato God. Could not get the pull. Tried. Sorry, bud, you failed.
Again, that could have at least been a flash trade if Kato God had come in there and burned his flash to get the pull in there. We knew that the Gnar's jump was down. I really would like to see some more commitment there. Possibly just some communication issues. But, overall, got at least some damage onto the Gnar, and it's going to allow Kato God to go back, and buy and come back to lane, and it'll be pushing back in his favor.
I think both teams are perhaps just a little bit afraid to go ahead and start diving right off the bat because this is the beginning of the finals, which is a little interesting because I would have expected to see them go a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, that's my thought. I think that now's the time to be cheeky if you're going to be cheeky, right? You don't have as much to lose if you drop a game at this stage. You want to play safer if you're down. But again, we're seeing this pressure coming out of the Vayne Soraka lane, and honestly, the sustain is, really making a difference here as Eletic just tanks that proc. He's not going to be able to, effectively stay in that lane at such low health.
Almost had a gank coming back in from the Vi up in the mid lane, but that did not end up happening, and that's just going to allow the Vayne to continue picking upon.
Going back in on the Vi.
Oh boy, look at that! Just continuing to dive. Is actually going to go ahead and run away. Has about half the health of June right now. Oh boy!
He's an engaged bottom lane.
Big fights all around. Here we go. Kimchi can continue to dive and gets the flash out of the Vayne. That's going to be nice, as well as the heal. Doesn't matter. Why are you going back in? Get the first blood! And that's going to mean a great little kill coming in. The Eletic here, they're not ready to give up just yet. We do see Gnar forced to end flashing. He actually taunted it back up in the top lane and continues to dive. We have fighting going back in the mid lane as well. June picking up the second kill. What is this?
This is some strong play coming up from this Vlad. Really making use of positioning and knowing the turret range well enough that he's able to harass this Fizz under tower without being punished for it.
Kato God doing an impeccable job. What we did miss up here is that Kimchi Caps was trying to teleport to the bot lane.
Level 6 advantage.
And then Kato God actually pulls him back, and that's a flash. Misses the stun. That would have been the kill. And going to continue potentially pushing back in, at least pressure him back out. Why are you going back in so far under tower? So greedy, forces the flash, not going to be enough. And dunked. Goodbye, says Kato God. I got your teleport, and now I got your life. Back in the bottom lane, we see Elise, not ready to give up the fight just yet. Dropping down to about 200 health, forces the jump right on top, gonna land right on top of Lifehack. No, she's gonna run away! And there goes the second kill. Boy, oh boy, she is feeding at this point. No, I take that back. I guess that was her only life. Eletic lost the first life. Sorry, not feeding.
And again, engaged mid lane as Fizz and Vlad go back and forth on one another.
And there comes the ult coming back in. Zexen continuing to run away. The ult landed, but June is just like, no, I'll just blood pool out. This is just not a good engagement.
And looking back at that earlier skirmish in the bot lane, I really got to hand it to Lifehack. Most players, if they see that gank coming, they know they're outnumbered, they would be focused more on running. Lifehack, knowing her damage, knowing that they have the advantage in the lane and the ability to sustain back up with the Soraka, chooses to stand her ground and fight. That's the second kill they've gotten from the gank happening in the bot lane. And this early game that is normally a problem for Vayne is going away. She's already almost up to Blade of the Ruined King. This is going to be a big problem for Blue Team if this trend continues.
We're already up about 1,500 or so gold over on between the teams, right? 2K gold, excuse me. 2K gold difference between the teams right now, and that's a huge deal, right? We're only 8 minutes in.
Yeah, looking at the farm even, so far the red team has an advantage in all three lanes, despite having a tough matchup normally in this bottom lane, and this Vlad is just really bullying this Fizz out, able to get this kill as well as almost a 40 CS lead. That's huge at 8 or 9 minutes of the game.
We do see Fizz, who potentially wants to run another little fight. We don't actually see the Elise coming around for the gank. Thought we were going to get it, but I was a liar. So not going to have it, and that's going to let the Fizz just back.
I really want to point out, I don't think that this build that this Fizz is going for is going to work out for him in the long run. Despite the stellar play we saw out of Zexen in the previous game, AD Fizz just is not effective until he gets items. And he doesn't have nearly the burst potential that AP Fizz has. So against someone like Vlad, who's going to sustain back up, you really should be going for burst, not sustain damage, because Vlad will just heal. And here we see another engage by Zexen, but he's not winning that trade in mid lane.
Nope, and we even see Kim Chicken actually coming back into the mid lane, or up into the top lane, potentially trying to gank around this Gnar. Look at all the fights. And even in response, we have the fight back in the bottom lane, but we can only watch one fight at a time. Here comes the jump coming back in on top of Kimchi Caps. They really want this fight. They're actually starting to dive this time. Kim Chicken actually taking a lot of damage. We're going to switch back down to the bottom lane. Eletic taking a lot of damage. Here comes the flash. The Vi is actually going to go ahead and get some pickoffs. Green things, if you would just do a couple of attacks, you might have been able to get the kill. Chose not to, and that's going to be the Vi walking away free. And no, I take it back. Yep. I'm not sure what they want. Lifehack just has to come back in and help Vi, who was down to, 10, 15 health at the end of that? Big fight coming in the mid lanes. We actually see June getting a double kill, coming back on top of the Elise as well as the Fizz back in the mid lane. This is just spiraling out of control. What are they thinking, AD Fizz? This is not right.
All right, so I want to point out the comments that I made pre-game. I remember we brought up the fact that we thought that the red team's comp looked a little bit disjointed. All of that goes away if they get ahead this much in the early game, right? You don't have to care about having a weaker team fight or less CC or anything like that if you're so far ahead. And Vayne right now having 2 kills and an assist, as well as a 30 CS lead, is going to be significantly better than this switch when it comes to the team fighting phase. And Vlad being 3-0 already has his Will the Ancients punishing this suspicious build coming out of this Fizz here.
Probably just laughing at it right now.
He's going to be way more impactful when they do get that fight. I'm excited to see how these dragon fights go, as the only one who really has at least priority from a kill standpoint on the blue team is Kato God on this Darius, but he's still down by about almost 20 CS. So, when you're up 2 kills but you're still losing in the CS, that still doesn't necessarily mean that you're winning. And we do see that Kimchi Caps is still pressuring.
Pick right on top of Taunter. Here comes Elitic stun. Gonna get it even through the flash, so that's gonna work out for them at least. They scored something, but a flash on a support out of a combat phase, that's not the greatest. It's something, but it's not nearly as much as they would have wanted.
And look here again. We've already got turret down in mid lane. No one there to respond.
And, what are they going to do? Zaxxon has, half the health of this, of the Vladimir here in the mid lane? And here comes the rest of the team to go ahead and start pressuring on. Misses the pull from Elitic.
Though, and he's already just punishing this.
He just doesn't care. Here comes the ult. Only drops him down about half health. Here comes the rest of the... They're just going to get the kill. There goes something for Fizz, but they needed half the team,
Yeah, and initially we saw there actually, this is kind of what we were pointing out initially in the game. The CC training was really good there by red team. June was not able to actually use the troll pool in that engage, so she wasn't able to get out of a fight that may have possibly turned. Would they have been able to invalidate some of that damage?
Engaging into Kimchick and Elika. That's got to be it. Elika chooses to change their mind. Twitch going invisible. They're perhaps looking for a little bit of a reinitiation, especially since they do see the tower so low.
We still have Leona ult on cooldown though. Again, burned for one person. You need that for the team fights. If you're going to try to pick one of these fights, you got to have those tools available to you. And looking back at the top lane, just this unrelenting pressure from this Gnar. Even down 2 kills.
Look at this. He's got to go for this. He's looking for it. He wants it. Kato God, I don't think, has the sustain to outlast this Gnar.
No, but remember, last time when Gnar tried to pressure too much, it did cost him his life due to greed. So possibly Kimchi Caps learning, but find the bot lane.
A big aggression coming back in from Elitic. Forces the flash right out on top of that bat. Doesn't get the ult off, but she doesn't have it anyway, so what's it matter? Lifehack continue to pressure in. Does not care. Here comes Gnar to say hello. Green things continue to take a lot of harassment. Going to give the double kill over to the Vayne. This is probably just going to be a triple kill, as Kimchi Caps says, no, you don't get to go to base. Here comes the dunk coming back out on the Taunter. But it doesn't even matter. The Soraka takes the brunt of the ultimate coming out from over on Kato God, and it still does not matter. It doesn't get a kill. But 4 kills over onto the red team so easily, and that's a free dragon.
Yeah, I cannot stress how calm and collected Lifehack is in these fights. Being very, very careful about positioning, always picking out targets that they can take. Now look at how high Vayne's health is right now. She wasn't even touched in that fight.
Nope.
And it started off as what looked like a disadvantage for them, but they were just able to focus on the right targets and just take them out one at a time. And while that was happening, once again, we had another bad engage by the Fizz in the mid lane, and June was just able to punish. You cannot deal damage quickly with this Fizz build. You don't even have a Blade of the Rune King. You can't dive towers, and where do we see Fizz die? Second interior turret against the Vladimir that has pool. I just gotta assume that the decision making here is kind of falling apart in this game. I'm hoping they'll pick it up for the next game, because we're struggling here. We're already almost got close to a 7K lead right now.
Even more than... the 7K gold is one thing, but look at this. They score 4 kills, 2 towers, and a dragon off of one team fight.
Yep. Look at the map right now. If we look at the map, we already have forward wards coming in for the red team. Blue team's wards are all in their own base, but we have engagement.
Big fight coming back on top of June. Miss that shot from Elitic. Nice flash though coming out from June. Just buying time at this point. Are they going to just give up on this? I think they are. June's actually continuing to look around. May just get... Not going to get any damage on him. If he just sacrifices himself, he might just get away.
Have to.
Might even not have to.
Just sustain off those minions.
Oh, here comes the Eletic diving right back on top of June. Gets the shot for the ultimate. Gonna go ahead and blood pool right back out of it.
She backed off, even though Twitch was coming.
What is going on? They're just completely giving up at this fight. June is just playing with their foods. Gonna potentially get a kill on top of Eletic. Not gonna get it. The Ignite was not enough. And Zenin just... I'm so confused right now.
That was an extended 5-man engage. We had 4 to start, and Darius had to come down to help make sure that the Vlad couldn't get away. When you have to commit 4 to 5 people to take out one character on the team and struggle that much, they gave up a kill in that engage. It's just not indicative of a strong game here. So they're going to have to really analyze what they did wrong here. As we see Vayne cleaning up again.
Goodbye.
In a 2v1.
Just does not care. That was both Kim Chicken over on the Elise as well as their ADC. This is done. This game was over at 10 minutes, and we're at 16 minutes in.
We have a 6-0-2 Vayne right now who has a work already finished and is looking to get what looks like a static Shiv. Already has that average grade, probably stacking it up pretty good. Honestly, they can leave her alone in the lane, and she can 2v1. Like, you have no one on this team that can solo her. Especially not your AD Fizz that doesn't even have an item built yet.
I'm not sure what the blue team could possibly do to get back into this game at this point.
And we have a Medjai's on Vlad now too. I just noticed. So this is a player who knows they don't need to care about the enemy team right now, right?
Nope. 9,000 gold lead over on the side of the red team.
All right. Well, let's start considering what went wrong here with these compositions, because we were talking up this blue team composition so much in the early game.
That was before we knew that Fizz was going AD.
That's true. That's true. But at the same time, we stress the fact that we have the early game pressure from the Elise and the CC training, and we might see some here as Vlad gets caught over in the jungle.
Red team is just ready to start engaging. I mean, even without the Vayne, oh boy, big fight's coming in. Very sorry about that missing looking for it. June getting picked out again. I'm actually a little surprised because that's the third time he's gotten caught out of position.
Yeah, we might see a little bit of cockiness here, but honestly, they can afford it. Nice all from Kimchi Caps.
Beautifully done. Everybody else is continuing to fight. Kato God's going to drop. Lifehack is godlike. No surprises there. Zexen is actually going to go back up to their Tier 1 tower, and we're going to continue seeing the Twitch trying to aggress everybody, try and score back out the blue buff before the rest of the team takes it. And it looks like they're just going to keep walking away. Look at this. Where did the tower drop? We just lost the top
They
lane.
were just able to bully them off of it. I mean, so you talked about a second here, June getting picked out. It doesn't matter really when you have a 7-0 Vayne, right? You can beat Vladimir, you can get a lot of damage on the enemy team, and then you can die, and then Vayne can just come in and pick up a kill and not take any damage in return, and that's perfectly fine, right? You don't need to be the carry in this game. You just need to...
Eletic's diving in. Why are you there? That is not where you should be.
Nice stun.
Beautifully done, come from the Gnar, stopping that Leona from being able to try and do anything, but that was just a bad positioning on their part in the first place.
Yeah, I just think that the blue team needs to cool their heads and really consider what they can do for this next game, because this game is done.
Big pull coming in from Kato God, pulling in 2, doesn't matter. The rest of the team's going to get out. Fizz will continue to dive in. Lifehack is going to get shut down, pulled in by Kato God. This is what the red team needed, or the blue team needed. They're continuing to pull in. Gets the Zexen dies, but it doesn't matter. They score 4 kills over their AD Zexen. I think they couldn't do any better than that. Vladimir coming in. Why are you here? This is a little awkward. Starts off the Ignite on top of Kato God. Taking a lot of damage. Forced to flash out. That gets the Ignite kill. I take it back. June is continuing to get picked off. It's going to be an ace. 2 for 5. They needed that really bad.
They did, but let's take a look at the goal. There's still a 10k deficit for the blue team. So this is what the comp is meant to do, right? This is what we were talking about. They got the CC chaining, we've got the high damage coming out of the carries, and we've got the nice front line that's able to protect their carries when they do this damage. What we saw the red team do to mitigate this is they applied a lot of pressure in the bot lane, so that there really wasn't. They actually applied pressure in all their lanes, so there really wasn't a good option for this early game Elise to do much. Fortunately, they're still showing that they can fight, but they're doing it because of missteps from the red team, not because they're poised to come back in this game.
No, exactly.
Had Vladimir been in that skirmish there from the start, I think that would have been a lost fight.
They played cocky, they went in one at a time, and they all got picked off because of it. They tried to clean it up because they knew they had the strength. We saw Vayne getting solo double kills, right? they knew that they had the power, so they decided to risk it and gain such a ridiculous advantage that it even perhaps would have supported a...
We're definitely going to see a fight here, I think.
Oh, big time. Vayne is definitely going to be needed. She's definitely in the back lines. Gets the nice little snipe on top of that. And denies it out to the Elise Kim Chicken.
They're just going to start it, no fear. I mean,
they just don't care.
They don't need to care. They have the numbers advantage. The late teleport comes in.
Way too late. Yeah, exactly.
She's silent. She can't drop her ultimate.
Goodbye, Elatic. You're first off the bat. Actually, no, we're going to go ahead and see Lifehack get the kill on top of the Twitch. That's probably a better pick off. Here comes Zexen. Going to drop next. We've lost 3 over on the blue team. 4 is about to happen. We do see Kato God drop second, 4th, and now Kim Chicken running for their life, dropping down to about 400 health. And red team says, thanks for the dragon, thanks for the river minion, and now we're just going to take a couple of extra towers while you back.
And again, the red team is making the blue team choose. They have 2 potent threats in this 7-4 Vladimir and this 9-2 Vayne. You go for the Vayne, the Vladimir kills you. You go for the Vladimir, the Vayne kills you. This Gnar's no slouch either. With a Black Cleaver on Gnar, he actually does a substantial amount of damage and is able to tank just as much as he gives. So, like these fights where the red team is grouped up, I don't think the blue team has much business being there. Nope. Honestly, that was a really, really stellar silence coming out of the Soraka to shut down the engage from the Leona there, because had that ultimate come down sooner, perhaps that would have been a much worse fight for the red team. But as it stands, they get a really easy cleanup. Only one able to walk away limping is the Elise.
Oh, Soraka gets the surprise pick on top of Elatic as well as the Elise. Elise choosing to separate on top of Taunter. Gonna miss they're both gonna trade flashes. Doesn't matter. Kim Chicken's gonna go ahead and get a kill out of this while the rest of them choose to continue aggressing on Vi. Kimchi Caps is gonna miss the stun, and that's going to allow Kim Chicken to continue getting picked on. Vayne says hello. Doesn't matter. Gnar gets the final pick on top of it anyway. Kimchi Caps drives next, and that's gonna continue being extra fights for Zexen, who's gonna get pushed back. Gets the kill. Here we go. Kato God saying hi, getting a beautiful triple kill. God, did they need this. June getting continue to be picked on. Bloodpool coming out from him. He's trying to run away. Ace comes out for the blue team. Where did this come from?
Again, we actually, it's the same situation as before. We had our carries kind of coming in one at a time for the red team, but by the time they get there, one of the threats is already eliminated. And so the blue team can just easily change focus to the new threat that showed up and take them out systematically. Kato God showing up again on his Darius here. There's a possibility that this blue team, shows some sign of life even with their big deficit here. This could be a tower.
Signs of life, sure. Let's not forget the basics here, right? We've lost all but 1 tier 2s on the blue side. Red team hasn't lost a single tower. Now, that's something to be said. When the blue team actually starts growing up and actually pushing for the towers like they need to be, there's so much gold laying around on the map in the form of towers if they can actually do a better job of taking advantage of their winning team fights like that. But it's not happening. They need to be getting the dragons. They need to be starting and getting at least the tier 1s off the ground. And then maybe at some point we will hopefully see the blue team able to capitalize on a couple of these one-team fights.
To their credit, I think that this is important for morale for the blue team. If they're able to get these fights and have them go their way, that might assure them that hey, this game didn't go how we wanted to, but as long as we work together as a team, we can still make stuff happen, right? And so that's an important moral victory for them here in this game. Kim Chicken kind of out of position there, but able to repel out of there and get out of there just fine.
Moral victories, yes, they needed these really badly, and they are showing that they came back to close to an 11,000. They're only behind by 11,000 gold here at this point, which is still a lot. But my concern is just this. You win a team fight. You score an ace on the opposing team. If your response, if your follow-up is as strong as if everybody had just gone back to jungling, you've gained nothing. If you go and you score a tower, and that is just it. I mean, 1 tower, fine. I'm not trying to knock the blue team. I just want to see them getting more out of these team wipes.
Well, there's a good start going on the Vayne there.
Here we go, right in on top of Elatic, who's actually going to be diving in on top of a Lifehack, who's going to be dropping down quite a bit first. Zexen's going to drop. There goes the Fizz. They're going to continue picking up. There's 2 big fights going on all over the place. Blue team is dropping. 3 kills gone. Vi's actually coming back in on top of Kato God. Going to continue picking on him a little bit. This may just be the return 5-man wipe coming out that the red team has been wanting, and they lost nobody.
Yeah, we had a split fight there, but the fight was split in the advantage of the red team. You noticed that we had the Leona go on to the Vayne, which is good start, right? But we had the Vladimir there that was ready to help support. That's 2 of your threats in the same place. And where were our big contenders for the blue team? Currently, they're Darius and their Twitch. The Fizz is not going to be able to put out enough damage with the build currently to be able to really blow somebody up. And so when your Darius and your Twitch are your two characters that have
looking for it. Kim
side.
Chicken's continuing to pressure, wanting to see if she can dive in on top of this Vi, who did take about a quarter of her health gone. They're not going to spot June, who's going to go ahead and get away. But look, I understand the blue team is at a disadvantage here. They were very, very far behind in gold. They're back to a 15,000 gold deficit here,
You can
right?
get Baron here though if they think the other red team's going to have to back.
This is actually
their chance.
potentially
This is
good
their chance
call.
to start getting come back in, but.
That's
Kim
not a
Chicken
bad
can't
play.
get caught. I think that if they have to do it, they have to do it now. This is the time they have to do it.
This is very true. This is their opportunity to do so. I would love to see them be able to pull this off. We do see the Vi who's choosing to back out. So this is going to be a free Baron for blue team.
And I still get it.
Great time.
Coming in for Gnar though. But if it's just Gnar, he can't outsmite the Elise here. Yeah, that was free. That was a really good call from the blue team.
Very well done. Great job, blue team. They're going to go ahead and start picking on the Kimchi Caps. They're not going to get it. He's just going to hop back over the wall, wait for them to come in close and hop out.
They need to not fight this fight though. They're too low.
Yes. They need to take their victory and walk away. I don't know if they're actually going to choose to do this. Hopefully they do. Fizz is looking for it.
Vayne is going to catch this Leona here.
Come on, camera. There we go. Force the flash out of Elitik. And that's at least going to be something. Good try on the Cocoon, but missed that shot.
Dragon is up. This would be Dragon 3 for the red team. With their composition, the 5% move speed would actually be really big. Vayne benefits a lot from that, so does Vladimir. So this is a good Dragon. This also puts the threat of the 5th Dragon onto their team, and that sets a timer on for the blue team. It's like, hey, we see that you're holding on. We see that you have Baron, but if you can't beat us before we get Dragon 5, that doesn't matter.
Exactly. So
here we see Kimchi Caps getting caught out. But, Kimchi Caps for Dragon 3, that's acceptable. He shouldn't have been
easily.
in that wolf camp, though.
They are down to 14,000 gold deficit right now, so not a bad giveaway there. I think they're doing just fine otherwise, but...
No, and we see, and again, this is indicative of the state of the game.
Right.
The team with Baron is not the team that's pushing right now, right? Look at how deep we have the bottom lane here. They're already advancing towards the inhibitor turret, and I don't think they're going to be able to take it with their team comp currently because Vayne is relatively short range, and Vladimir is also short range and doesn't really contribute much to tower pushing. But again, if you're the team with Baron and you can't push out, that's problematic. And we do actually have the inhibitor down in top lane too.
Yes. And I do have to say, I think there's something important to say, the fact that the blue team did not take the Baron to make pushes. They simply took it to stop the red team from being able to do so.
No, that's correct. Yeah, it's a good denial, though. That if red team had Baron right now, the game's over. So.
Oh, it's a great denial, and I'm very happy to see that. But nonetheless, it's very sad to see that the blue team, that said, which we all know was a denial and not an actual pushing mechanic, pushing intent, I would like to see them pushing right now. They scored almost 2 full team wipes, and even with the Baron, they can't get kills. They can't get towers. I feel really sorry for them right now. I would like to see more.
Here we actually are seeing the Vi pick being okay here because of the limited number of threats on the blue team. If Vi is able to isolate the threat in Twitch, I think that their damage potential drops down significantly unless Darius does Darius things. But here comes the fight.
Big fight coming back into the bot lane. We have 4v4 down here. Elitik's actually going to get dropped down first. 2 down coming in. We do even see the Twitch dropping. The red team's not ready to give up just yet. They continue to push back in. Actually flanking coming back down. We even say the gold being pulled from Zexen. Doesn't matter. Kato God's looking for something. Gets the kill on top of Taunter. But that doesn't matter. We have a 5-man wipe. And the red team's like, la 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 la, let's go ahead and take a nice little inhibitor off of this too. And this very well may be game. We have 30 seconds. Oh, June. Interesting.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to at least push in and get this inhibitor here, possibly a Nexus turret. I don't think they'll take the game off of this, but again, in that fight, Lifehack just, very, very good maneuverability, was caught out of position initially, was able to cleanse using the Quicksilver Sash that we talked about him getting earlier. Was able to cleanse the stun from Elise and was able to back out, let Soraka heal him back up, and then come back in and still be a threat in the fight.
Big ultimate, get Paul coming in from Elitik. They're going to go ahead and get a kill off of this. Elika is actually going to be picked off first. We have a further kill coming back in. Elitik's going to get picked off. Doesn't matter, holy crap, we see green things continuing to drop down too. all for a jungler. We have Zexen, who's ready to fight, coming back in, gets the Ignite kill on top. It doesn't matter. They're slowing down the inevitable, but that matters at this point. Kimchi Cap still running around with the bleed out, coming back in. Kato God, I'm not sure if he's able to actually get the dunk on right now. He's looking for it. He's got the ult coming back in. Beautiful stun! Gnar seals the deal. Ace a second time, and that's game.
Really good manipulation of the rage bar there by Kimchi Caps. Able to pop the ultimate to prevent Darius from dunking him and get that health bonus so that he doesn't bleed out. Really good mechanics there from him on the Gnar at the end of the game. Yeah, I think ultimately this game just comes down to there just being too many threats that do too much damage on the red team, and even with the large amount of CC on the blue team, their damage threats just aren't as substantial. So if they lose one, their damage is just gone. And I gotta say still, this Fizz build, I just don't like it.
Nope, not in the least.
It has not been very impressive this game.
And, I mean, look at this. He even switched it out. Look at it.
Yeah,
he's got the Bork, but he's just with
hybridize.
pure AP after that. What is that? I don't get it. Elitic kind of goofing around. We all know this game is over, so we're just kind of waiting for the finalization of the match. Thank you, Winions. Actually going to go ahead and finish the game for us. But, okay. What did the blue team right do? What did the blue team do right?
So, when blue team transitioned to mid to late game, they stuck to their 5-man squad, and they used their CC effectively, and they were able to eke out some fights that, in all honesty, they should have lost. But, at the same time, I do think the red team got a little bit too cocky in their lead, and they gave up kills they didn't need to. Particularly June, who got caught numerous times around the jungle, and that would happen typically right before a team fight happened afterwards. So generally, the only real threat left would be Lifehack, and once Lifehack dropped in those fights, the red team was able to, or the blue team was able to pick it up from there. So I think that the blue team utilized their comp properly when it came down to the team fights, but they just didn't have the carries to make it work for them that game.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm gonna harp on this, but this Fizz build is just not. It's not benefiting.
Trash.
It's not. It's not.
I don't like it in the least. Was he able to actually participate in anything in the fights?
He did damage, but he just doesn't do it fast enough.
No.
To make it matter. So when you're playing against a Vlad and a Vayne, both of which have sustain in their a lot of sustain in their builds, you cannot build a sustained damage build on Fizz. You have to build burst. You got to blow up one of those targets really quickly. And maybe he thought that he couldn't blow up the Vlad quickly because of the pull or whatever. But you got to kill somebody here, right? You got to kill Soraka maybe. You got to kill Vayne. You got to kill Vi. You got to be able to kill somebody quickly and then make that fight a 4v5 because this team with all the CC, if it's a 4v5, they should come out on top. I mean, most teams should come out on top if it's a 4v5. But you're playing with the sustained damage Fizz. Who's he gonna kill?
Right.
If he goes for somebody in the back line, he has no tankiness other than his Zhonya's to do any damage. He's not gonna be able to auto attack enough for Blade of the Ruined King. If he's Zhonyazing, how is he auto attacking? This is where AP Fizz is just better because he lands that shark on there. He gets that damage amplification. He dashes in, does that immediate spike of damage, gets an auto attack off, and then can pull up and just back off or come down for more damage and Zhonya's or what have you. And wait for his team to follow up. He's done his job at that point.
Yep.
What job have you done with this Blade of the Ruined King?
Exactly.
What do you do? You don't do anything here. So I think that was a big mistake here, at least in either build path or characters. I think the Fizz was a fine pick. I just don't agree at all with the build path here.
I think
Very suspicious.
part of my concern with it is he rushed the Bork first. Fine. If that's considered a decent play style, I haven't seen it. Perhaps I'm still new to the game.
It was a top lane build. It was never a mid build.
Right. So here's my thing. You go up against a Vladimir. You know you're going to lose the lane. I would have, at very least, if I was in that seat, I would have built up a couple of extra beginning of game AP items instead of the Bork. I would have pushed the lane every chance I got, perhaps with a little bit of jungle help. I wouldn't have gone in trying to kill off the.
We should probably see if they're making a lobby.
I would have liked to have not seen them go against perhaps the Vladimir as much as here. Let's switch to the bracket real quick. I can't join it because it's full. So anyway, here's the point I'm trying to get to. If you're not going to be able to win the game win the lane against the Vladimir, fine. Push it in, rotate bot, and stop that guy who's wrecking your bot lane, right?
I think they tried, though. They tried numerous times to deal with the Vayne, and every time they came down there, it wasn't enough. I mean, again, props to Lifehack, excuse me, because every time they were in a disadvantageous situation, she kept her cool on the Vayne. She positioned very well. She did not back out of the fight and take free damage. She got the kills, and thanks to the Soraka heals and the good positioning, she didn't even die in most of this, in like a majority of the situations. So just eking out those advantages early was a big win. Because now you can't deal with both the Vladimir and the Vayne at the same time. They're pushing two separate lanes. So even if you got your CC, you have to send them the one or the other, and they chose to send him for the Vladimir, but who took like 4 people to kill him. At that point, I agree. I think that they should have went for the Vayne and sent the 4 people, because the Vayne can't pull and get out of it. The Vayne has just tumble and ultimate.
Yeah.
And you lock Vayne down, she's dead. It just takes much less resources, takes much less time, and it gets the job done. But it was good still to see the signs of life out of blue team.
Yep.
That does give me some hope for them in game 2. I think that hopefully they're not demoralized by that.
They did have some great teamwork there. Especially, they knew exactly where to go for the Baron, and they got that right.
Oh yeah, that was
a
great call. That was a fantastic call.
Perfect call going for that Baron. You see them working together, even if they're not always grouped. Even if they're not always grouped 100% of the time, they're at least doing a great job of sticking together as a team and working. I don't know. I'm excited to see what they can pull off. Please, for the love of God, no more Fizz 80 in the mid lane. But at the same time, put that aside. Take a breather, get back into this game, and know that you do deserve to be in the finals here. We've seen some big stomps coming here in the finals before. This is not going to be one of them, and I'm actually really excited for this.
And here we go. Looks like we're getting set up here. Oh.
Nope, we're not ready just yet. We did make a mistake for the room choice. Lobby type. Thank you is the word I'm looking for here. So we're gonna go ahead and take a step back.
So yeah, final statement I guess on that game. Just some overall incredibly solid mechanical play from individual players on the red team.
Yep.
The Vayne play was stellar. The Vlad knew exactly how to win that lane. And from the blue team,
Vayne,
you played your comp. You played your comp correctly. You just did it. It was too late. You gotta know what to do in the early game. And starting longsword 2-pot on Fizz is not the correct choice.
Nope.
Last thing I'll say on that, I guess, if you want to go for that sustained damage 80 Fizz, why not start Crystalline Flask and the sustain build, right? Because you gotta survive the lane before you can actually get the items, and you're not gonna survive the lane with 2 potions against Vlad and a longsword. He'll out-sustain you all day. You can't effectively trade with him with that build unless you get help. But I think that we'll see a better game 2 here, and I'd like to see it go to game 3. I think that Zenon and the rest of them have it in them, and we have to rotate down to spectate.
Oops. Good call.
But yeah, I'm interested in seeing where this pick ban goes. A big thing that I will say is that the red team was carried by individuals, I think, more than it was the team.
Yes.
So if they can find a way to shut down those individuals, their team play will come out on top. But if you give those individuals 2-3 kill advantages in lane like that, your team play doesn't, it becomes irrelevant because you're already down 10k, and even though you get an ace that just puts you down 9k, and that it's exponential damage there from towers as it goes on. So we shall see if any changes are made here that will improve the game this time.
I certainly hope so. I think you brought up a very, very good point here, right? You did call very accurately, I will say, especially how the red team in the last game. Wait. June's red. They're purple team again.
They probably chose to be blue team again
because they lost the previous game. Got it. Okay, I thought it was a forced rotate.
No, you get to choose if you lose.
Got it. Okay, cool. So that'll help. Perhaps. I don't know. I guess we'll find out, won't we?
It does give. Well, no. See, the thing I don't like here is it does give. It gives June the counter pick again. You get the counter pick for the lane, and that doesn't shut down the individual.
Yep.
So.
I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. But Cat Vayne.
Are we in the screen for?
No, we should be though. Sorry, right. My bad. This is why I like having a co-caster. This is nice because I will make mistakes like that. So I mean, like you were saying, the Zexen's team, right? I think that they are a better team than, we will say, June's group of amazing individuals.
The question is, can they shut down the individuals to make their team play shine?
Exactly. And that's going to force Zexen's team, as a team, to start creating some really good... they're going to have to think outside the box now.
And this is actually, we see this in the bans too, right? Like, we take a look at the blue team's bans. None of those characters are, typically banned. Why are they being banned here? Because they're banning out the individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know that the individual players are strong in these characters, and they want to deny these characters from being in their hands. Now we look at the purple team, Vygar, AoE stun, instant burst, good team player with that AoE stun. Sivir, AoE carry, or not AoE carry, support carry. Her entire job is to support the team with her ultimate and be safe with her spell shield. That's gone. Darius, able to do a lot of team fight damage and able to tank up that front line, still get those pulls. He did, Kato God did a stellar job on that Darius again, even though they had the loss there. So both teams identifying, where each individual teams are lying and trying to mitigate that to the best that they can. And again, seeing this Leona pick come out. Now, one thing I will say, they picked the Leona last game with the Twitch, but they got bullied the entire lane.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to pick this Leona, you need to exert some pressure on it. I would have liked to have seen a level 2 or a level 3 engage onto the Vayne or the Soraka. Probably the Soraka, because you can't really effectively trade with the Vayne if the Soraka is there unless you burst her. But
I think part of the concern, I think Elatic's Leona is good, right? Did he miss some of his throws, some of the E's last game? Yes. We know for a fact that he's decent with it. He might be tiring himself out a little bit. It's kind of tough to play the exact same character 3-4 games in a row. So I do think that Elatic's Leona in general is a good one, but my concern came from the Twitch play. They need to have some decent follow-up. Give them Tristana. Tristana would be a great follow-up alongside the Leona, right?
It would support both archetypes. You could at least, have the option to jump in or back out. The one thing I will say about Leona is she doesn't have the option to back out generally, right? So if they are...
Give them Callista. Callista's not banned. Callista was banned the last few games, and Callista's still in right now.
I don't want to see this Quinn.
I don't either.
Okay, yeah. If Quinn top maybe, but like.
Okay, all right.
But here's another slight mismatch in that Caitlyn is not the most oppressive laner from an all-in standpoint. She's very much over time chipping. She will harass you, the enemy AD carry from far range, and to get that incremental damage and get those headshots. But if Leona goes in, she can throw out a Q, she can throw out a trap. But other than auto attack, she doesn't apply much.
Yeah.
Against Soraka, that's meaningless. So this is a little disjointed of a lane. I think that the two characters individually are fine.
Yep.
I don't mind the picks. I think they're perfectly fine, and Caitlyn's a good pick against Vi because she can stay far away. But they don't synergize well together in lane, and that's what we need to see.
Yeah. I think
Jinx would be great here.
Oh yeah,
Purple team.
Absolutely. I think the Jinx is going to be a great little setup. Just really consistently pressure. Just say, Lifehack is a great player with the AD. I'm not sold on the Graves. Lifehack MVP last game, wrecked them. Absolutely wrecked them. Right?
I would also give props to June. But yes, I think Lifehack was the star of the 2-star players that last game.
Yes, absolutely. They fed Lifehack, and Lifehack delivered. He pulled him in all the way to Lifehack pulled him all the way to a victory and did an amazing job. That said, I am concerned because of the Graves' short distance is going just to open up Kato God's ability to headshot so easily. And as soon as they become low, as soon as if Kim Chicken consistently watches over the bot lane, which I'm betting you they will, if they're smart, they'll watch over the bot lane, they'll pick on Graves as best as they can, and
I'd like to see them pick on Soraka, because if they pick on Graves, Soraka heals him back up. Soraka can't heal herself though.
Nope.
So I'd like to see, if they're going to harass, they got to harass Soraka, because Graves can only really provide a heal for her, and that's not going to be enough. But I gotta say, like you're saying, I don't actually like this Graves pick with the Soraka, because how do they work together? Straka is not going to help you burst people. Graves doesn't really need to be sustained. He's already pretty tanky because of his passive. So again, we got a kind of a wonky like last game made sense, right? Straka with Vayne helps make up for Vayne's early game issues, and then Vayne can carry her by herself with her silver bolts. Graves doesn't provide much after his initial burst. So against Leona, it's going to be lessened even more because Leona can just stand in front of Caitlyn and just eat the collateral damage and not have to worry about it.
Pretty much.
I want to look at this Hecarim pick here because I don't like this pick very much either. Hecarim used to be played quite a bit for the home guard build, and it looks like he's kind of looking to do that. But he's a greedy pick. He needs money to be good, and he can be punished very easily. He has no escapes outside of his running away, and his ultimate.
Yeah,
and you don't got that. You don't have that early game.
I think they're just looking for the mobility and the stuns, right? I mean, look at everybody on their team. They've all got forms of mobility, with the exception of,
I think I would have rather seen the Gnar that he was hovering.
I agree. I agree. At the same time,
Okay, this is weird.
Yeah, oh gosh, how hilarious would this be if Kimchi Caps is saying, you know what? I'm going to show you how AD Fizz is supposed to work.
AD Fizz is okay in the top lane. I mean, I still
okay. Yep, they got the teleport.
Okay, now they're changing.
Nope,
okay.
Take it back.
I still don't like it, especially against Fiora because she can just kind of. If you're going to go Fizz, you go AP against Fiora because then she can't punish you as much. But I think that this Hecarim is going to get bullied by this Fiora's passive because he's got to be in the minions and she can just dash around and stab him up a bit.
Absolutely.
This mid lane matchup will be really interesting though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more fun than it was last game too. But at the same time, I am glad to not see a Vladimir pick up yet again. Because June, I don't know. Mainly because I like to see fighting. Right.
We'll get to see the mechanics of June this game a lot more than we did the Vladimir game, right? Like Vladimir is a fairly simple champion to play mechanically, but to understand positioning as well as June did and how to really bully, that takes a little bit more, skill. But Fizz is a very mechanical champion that, when put in the right hands and built properly, can really punish a team if he gets ahead. And taking this Ignite, I think, is June's primed to do so. And this Fizz pick actually works well with the Vi pick. Unlike last game where the Vi pick doesn't really function with the Vi pick, the Fizz pick does.
I'm feeling really stupid because I can't believe that I missed an Azir being picked up.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited because this is going to be a really interesting matchup. It's basically going to be it's whether June can burst Azir or whether Azir can force June away enough and sustain damage to kill him.
Yep.
This Echo jungle is a nice pickup too. I actually like. Again, I like blue team's team comp more than I like purple teams because they just don't, have a lot of group synergy with each other.
And they want to fight. I mean, they seriously want to fight. We've got a double teleport composition coming out. We may not have an Ignite coming in from anybody, but who cares? Double teleport coming in.
With all that damage, you don't need Ignite.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. So they just want to fight. And I like that because that's also going to mean that we're going to be looking at the purple team's mobility in a completely different manner. So either way, this is going to be a lot of fun.
And Ignite does quote unquote counter teleport, in that if you win the lane with Ignite, it doesn't matter if the other person is teleport because they're weaker than you.
Yeah.
But if they don't win the lane, if they go even, teleport is much better than Ignite later on.
Yeah.
Much better. So we'll get to see which one of these contrasting strategies, except Kimchi Cap's running both of them because he doesn't care apparently.
So we're going to go take a break real quick. We got 45 seconds until the match begins loading, so we're going to take a break real quick, and we'll return very shortly, right before the match begins. See you in just a moment.
All right. So Chris had to step away, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started here with the introductions. On the Azir, we have Zexen. On the... Wow, I can't remember his name.
Sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and get back. And
There it is.
very sorry. All right, so we see Zexen over on the Azir. We see Kim Chicken over on, just so we double call all this, we have Echo running Kim Chicken. Over on the the top lane, we have Kato God running on the Fiora. Down to the bottom lane, we have Green Things running on Caitlyn. And finally, Elatic as the support Leona.
And over on the red team, again, we have Elioka on the Vi once again.
Oh, look at this big startup. They totally ganked it right off the bat. Big aggression coming in from the Echo, catching everybody with the first shot right off the bat. 30 seconds till minions spawn. I was expecting first blood. Here comes all the flashes. Look at this fight potential. They seriously want this. First blood goes over onto the Graves. This is not what they wanted. They're hoping for a little bit more of this. They might get a first kill off of this. Lifehack is looking for it. They're not going to get it. They're so trying. This might be a team wipe right off the bat. They want this. Look at this. Oh, how? Oh, that sucks.
That is a disaster for the blue team here. One thing that they had to do was not give the solo laner, or give the carries an advantage. And what do we have here? We already have Graves with a longsword and an extra pot in his pot in the lane. He could start building towards a Bloodthirster really early and go for that burst Graves build. That is not what the blue team needed to have that game start out as.
No.
And it looked so promising too. They had such a good positioning on that engage, but they just did not have the ability to out-sustain the Soraka heals.
They got some great damage in. I don't understand where it went south.
There are a lot of summoners burned on the side of the red team, so I'd be looking to see some return plays coming out here from the Echo. But yeah, just good positioning from the red team really made a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and continue our introduction here.
Yes, agreed. Very sorry about all this.
MG Taunter on Soraka in the bot lane with Lifehack, who now has 1 kill on the Graves, and Kimchi Caps up in the top lane on the Hecarim, and June representing Fizz in a little bit of a different build, hopefully in the mid lane.
You talked about how the AD Fizz in the mid lane would potentially need a lot of extra sustain. Well, look at what we've got on him.
It's possible. I'm hoping we don't see AD Fizz come out again in the mid lane, though, especially against Azir. You need that burst, but here's some fighting.
Big fight coming right off the bat in the mid lane. Holy cow, look at all this. Zexen's starting to take a lot of damage. Gets the flash and the ignite. Goodbye, Zexen. Second blood. Oh, man.
And you see, that's the damage that comes out of the AP Fizz. He just needs to dash in, and his auto attacks actually do more because of the procs. The more health you're missing, the more damage he does with his auto attacks. So, we got June just showing Zexen how to play the character.
Exactly. And I guess that first that assist gold right at the beginning of the game, not too shabby on top of it.
Got a little duel going on up in the top lane with Kimchi Caps, though, forcing Kato God back with his dash there. Parlayed, though, so the damage was reduced a little bit. This is going to be an interesting lane. They're both fairly all in, so they should be fairly back and forth.
3 minutes and we're back. We're already down 1,000 gold. This is not exactly what the Zexen team wanted to be able to deal with. I mean, I was so excited for them to do. They started out so well in that engage. It just didn't work, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's risky plays like that have high payoffs, but they also have really, really detrimental consequences if you don't come out on top. And we can already see that both teams know that top lane's the priority as they're sending both their junglers up there. I actually like the positioning of Echo here a little more. He's ready to counter gank, and he can set up the stun. Oh,
he got caught out of position. This might be the first kill for Kim Chicken's going to go ahead and get the flash. Doesn't matter. Here comes the flash. A secondary one coming out. Vi's looking for it. Going to go ahead and get the pulls. And this might be an extra kill on top of Elka. Come on. Not trying to pick favorites here. I just want to see some extra fighting going on. And that's not going to do any good.
And in the bot lane, we had a nice tower dive forced by the Graves there, really pushing their early game advantage. You don't even see any damage on him because that Soraka's healing him back up. We talked about how there's no real lane synergy between Soraka and Graves, but again, if you start with a kill, you get that extra damage out there. You can carry yourself, and I think that's what Lifehack has been planning to do the whole time. He's just going to make the plays happen and let the Soraka allow him to make them safely.
Absolutely, and I mean, holy cow, he's already up 20 CS and 2 kills. The equivalent of more than 3-0 running over on this Graves, in addition to the Caitlyn being back 0-1, right?
Yeah,
It's gotta hurt.
This is going to be a really, really uphill battle for the blue team. They don't need that, as we see another duel happening in the top lane. A little bit of a damage trade there, but we see Kato God coming out on top now.
So
Extra damage from that longsword.
big time. Big time. I mean, only one exception to the rule. I take that back. I was going to say that every lane over on the red team has more CS than their equivalent on the blue team, with the exception of the jungler. And even that's not that big of a deal, so I'm not going to... Useless, unnecessary fact, everybody. So, nonetheless, Graves is going to go ahead and start backing two... Oh, boy, I wonder what that's going to be. Is that going to be a pickaxe, or you think he's got the BF already?
It is the BF, so I think he's going to go for that early Bloodthirster build. And here we see June, again, punishing Zexen.
He's already level 6 over Zexen, and that's going to be a big punish. Here comes Echo doing a great job catching out the June. I don't think it's going to matter. It's not going to get the kill.
No, Zexen didn't want to try to fight it. Probably wise on his part.
Very true.
Fizz did have his...
the taunts. They do want to continue diving back in. Zexen, you better get in there, help your buddy, but he does get baited out and ignited on top of Zexen. I don't think it's going to be enough to get the pick on. He is going to get the kill. And there goes Kim Chicken. He's definitely trying. No, I take it back. We're not done yet. We actually have the re-engage coming in from Elitic. Great flank opportunity, and that's going to keep the rest of the team alive.
And, once again, the blue team trying to make use of their team play and come together and work together, but just really not super coordinated there between Zexen and Kim Chicken. Kim Chicken obviously wanted to continue that brawl, whereas Zexen, he was hesitant. He backed off. He tried to come back in and then got punished for it with, the hesitance there. So... I think maybe he's a little shaken up from that last game. Hopefully he can recover. Azir has a really solid late game, so there's still that chance. But we're already looking at a 2K lead here coming out for the red team, which this early in the game is fairly substantial. 7
minutes in. They've got to be able to figure something out here. I applaud their efforts to go ahead and keep engaging in, especially, but I mean, it unfortunately just has not worked out. Like, there's a point where you're unlucky, like when they chose to go around and flank them at the blue, and then there's a point where you're behind, and you should not. I don't know what they should be doing at this point, because everything that they've tried has failed.
I think they really need to isolate a lane and try to bounce it back at this point. Honestly, the best lane to pick, I think, would probably be the Fiora lane, but she's already died twice, so...
They're going to need that Fiora to be powerful and to be in this game, but at the same time, no, you're totally right. Graves is making things ridiculously difficult by pushing into the bot lane so hard. The tier 1 is almost gone.
There's nothing Caitlyn can do at this point. Having that BF sword advantage up on her Doran's boots, there's not even close to the same damage. And nonetheless, Caitlyn does less damage than Graves up front anyway, and he's already looking at that level 6. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an engage here soon. Vyze in the bottom lane, lurking.
We even have Azir trying to pick back on the Fizz. Fizz chose to dive under the tower.
Here's a little bit of that hubris we saw at June last game. Gets that advantage and tries to push it, but sometimes does things that are a little bit risky and gets a little punished for it. So she's gonna have to go back. Or they're gonna have to go back to shop now, but we will see that advantage continue to be pushed. Fight in the top lane.
Fight back up in the top lane. Very sorry about that. Kimchi Cap's actually going to go ahead and take out the bot lane. Look at the teleports coming in. Azir says, no, let's fight right now. We're going to need something out of this. Is going to go ahead and start picking on him. I don't know if Caitlyn's going to be able to survive. He goes ahead and flashes out. Nice. There's going to go the Great Wall coming back in, and they're ready to keep fighting. Goodbye, Taunter. You're going to give a nice double kill over to both the... we saw Echo and we saw Caitlyn getting kills on the board. And they might even translate this into a dragon. We do see Fizz lurking around, and June knows of its existence. Holy cow. And I don't know how good this is going to be. Yeah, they're going to be forced to back, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that was exactly what the blue team needed to do. We did talk about them having that double teleport.
Elitic's going to dive. I'm not sure if that was the right move. The rest of the team wanted to go ahead and take advantage of it. She does flash right back out of the fight. Not a good move. Echo is going to go ahead and use his ultimate, and is going to do a little bit of damage, and just going to stun. Okay, he's going to try and keep pulling you back in. Here comes the Hecarim ready to dive in, and Vi is going to play cleanup duty.
I don't know if she needed the flash there. She could have just let Hecarim pick up the kill. It probably would have been actually better for him because he doesn't need money. But they will translate that into a dragon as they did force the blue team off.
You say that, and I agree, but at the same time, the Vi influence around the map has been crucial of keeping...
Fizz going on Caitlyn bottom now.
Back down. Actually, I think he's going to get picked off.
The
boy,
burn damage
Caitlyn.
from the passive.
They're trying. That burn is just wiping them out. That's what resulted in 3 kills already?
Yeah. And you know, again, to the blue team's credit, they're doing what their comp is supposed to do. They had a good teleport with that Azir in that previous fight, but it's these small skirmishes that they can't take. They're playing against a Fed Fizz, a Fed Graves now, a getting money Hecarim. He's not fed yet, but he's getting there. And they just don't have the characters that can sustain it. They don't have the damage yet. Fiora and Caitlyn are both comparatively gimped to their counterparts. And while Echo and Azir are, putting out damage and Leona's getting good stuns, there's 2 threats now on this team that are big, so they can't take them both out at the same time.
Right, and this is what I was talking about. I'm not surprised that they went ahead and let the Vi get the flash kill for that one, because Vi's presence around the map has been so significant in trying to keep the pressure coming down. Oh, here we go, right on top of Kim Chicken. This is not where you wanted to be. 4 are going to come in and just say hello. Fizz as well as Hecarim are going to go ahead and get the pickoffs. Soraka is, wow, what a heal. And Elatic's going to try and take something out of this. Gets the kill. The solo kill, well done on that one. This nice throw is going to get the kill. Doesn't matter. Gets the flashback out of Azir. And there goes Graves saying hello with the shot. We're going to go. What happened there? Hecarim tried to take the shot, and it just didn't do any good. Very sorry. Oh, boy. You betrayed me, he says, as he goes down.
So that was a fantastic Shurima shuffle from Azir, able to push the entire team into the turret. Unfortunately, the tower was not actually focused on any of the enemy team players and was still shooting minions. So while we could have had somebody die in that fight with that shuffle, had it been focusing properly, didn't quite get there. Nice pickup by the Caitlyn due to the misstep there by Hecarim to answer back a little bit. But now we're seeing that gold lead creep up to 5k, and this is looking pretty similar to last game. Take a look at that kill spread there. We got 5 again on June and 3 down there on Lifehack.
Sorry about the camera getting stuck on the minion camp there for a minute. We had a little button issue, but we fixed that obviously. So sorry about that again.
So we actually did not see the Bloodthirster build coming out of Graves. We're actually seeing the Infinity Edge. So he's going for more of an auto attack build. It's fine. It'll do the job, but I like the Bloodthirster build a little bit better than the upfront burst.
Zenon's trying, does not have ultimate. Here comes Echo, wants to say hello. You want to fight? Let's fight. He says Zenon's going to drop, and I don't think Echo's just going to be able to do anything about this. He's trying. Here comes Vi, says hello with her fist, and that's just going to be the end of the second jungler. Ultimate gets the nice try. June is trying. Does a great little dive. Baits the ultimate right back out of Kim Chicken.
And there's a fight going on bot lane too. That's finished up.
What an amazing play coming back out of that. Just seeing the Fizz bait out Echo's ultimate. I've never seen that kind of counterplay.
Yeah, June is really showing up as the mechanical leader as Elika gets caught in their jungle up on the top side.
I'm going to have to remember that. Oh, sorry about that. My apologies. Wow, they got a kill. They got the Vi. Well done, guys. That's what they needed to get.
Yeah, but I just, every time, like I said, we have this Fizz, and we're able to show the mechanical skill difference here with this AP build as you're able to bob and weave inside of these fights. You don't need your auto attack damage. You can just hit them once and hit them hard, and that's all you need. And June really showing that, able to play some mind games there using the troll stick.
And we're going to see a big... Well. Oh, Elatic misses a shot coming in, and that's
Azir.
At least going to be something. Here's Azir coming down from the mid lane. She's going to get spotted out by the lane ward.
Oh, missed the wall jump too.
Did not get the lane jump, the jump over the wall, and that's going to mean they just get away scot-free. Back in the mid lane, they're going to take quite a bit, and that's a free tier 2, tier 1 out of it. So they're just not getting anything.
In the top lane for it, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a trade, and when red team's already up by so much, them getting the trade is better. And I might not even get a trade out of the Fiora here.
They're not even going to get the tower out of it, but they do see the Graves, and they're going to want to pick at it a little bit. I don't know
Caitlyn can't do
why. Yeah, why are you here by yourself against Lifehack? You're not equipped for this fight. Here comes the jungle Echo coming back in. Going to get a couple picks. Nice throw coming and trying to get the assist and the heads up on Lifehack.
just the Soraka showing her usefulness here.
Bingo.
And the lack of damage on Caitlyn. Echo can't carry this by himself with just Rune Wave.
He's trying. Can't fault him for it. And Echo especially is just, Echo's doing a better job right now.
Engage from Leona.
Fizz. Here comes Elatic diving right back in. Grits, the ult right on top of June, is going to continue diving right back in. Goes godlike on top of Leona. And that's going to see Elatic down. Zexen, nicely done on the ultimate. Knocks out Few. June says, I still want to play ball. Goes ahead and throws the Ignite on top of Azir, and he's going to drop down to tower. Green Things is going to drop, and that's going to be an ace, except for Fiora, apologize for the ace, who's still up in the top lane. Not sure what she's doing. She had the teleport.
Yeah, we talked up the team play from the blue team, but that was just a good, stellar team play from the red team there. Hecarim teleporting down, getting the cleanup. They're able to push in this tier 3, and are going to get this inhibitor off of this. I can't imagine they don't at this point. Fiora, even if she showed up to that fight, I don't know that it would have changed much unless she showed up at the very beginning before Hecarim gets there.
Oh, big start coming out on top of Elika, who's going to go ahead and drop down to the Kato God. Well done start there. They're not ready to stop pressuring back on top of him. Lifehack might just drop down here, down to 300 health. Gets the flash out of Kato God. Going to go ahead and work on the double kill. They're not done chasing out of this. Kimchi Caps understands perfectly well that they're continuing to pressure on top of this. Goes on top of the safety of their pink ward, but I just don't think it's enough. And the blue team gives up the chase.
It looks like they might try to transition that push back into the dragon here. I like that call. I do think that if Fizz comes, he can disrupt it and possibly pick up a kill, but it looks like he's just fine.
Hecarim's going to go ahead and catch Green Things out of position. That's going to be a solo kill. What is this? Echo says, fine, you want to fight? Let's fight. Goes ahead and gets the shutdown gold on top of him. June's going to say hi and gets the stun. What an outplay. I don't think he's going to survive. At least Elatic's there to slow down the process. And at least gets the ult coming out. And they're going to sacrifice support for the rest of them. This might be a bait. They're going to try and see if they can search for June, but with with Haunter right at their flank, I don't think that's going to do a whole lot of good. Chicken, what are you doing? Don't go back into that fight, buddy. And it's going to go ahead and get him out. But at the end of the day, they got the trade that they were, I don't want to say was a trade they wanted by losing the jungler, or the support instead of the jungler. But
I don't think there was any need for Elatic to stay as long as she did. She burned a lot of resources, and it looked like Kim Chicken was already, for the most part, out of that fight.
Yeah.
But really, the entire issue with that was Green Things was just out of position.
Yes.
Had no business being on the other side of the wall by herself when the rest of the team was in the pit. Didn't even net over the wall to get into the pit, and then caused that entire thing to happen. So at the end of the day, that was a 2-for-1. Flash did get burned from Soraka there, though. That was a little bit of a greedy back on her part.
yes, absolutely. So, yeah.
And again, we're seeing, the exact same thing happen out of this game. Although this time, June is decisively, carrying this one. 9-1-4 on this Fizz, again with the Magi's pick. Probably not going to get punished. I do think Lifehack's dead here.
I would think so too. Oh, gets the shot right on top. Doesn't matter. Lifehack is saying, fine, we're going to fight. And I'm just going to walk out with the kill before we even choose to do that. Caitlyn, I'm not sure why she chose to ult right there.
Another mechanical misplay there from the Caitlyn.
A very strange play. And that thing is that Zexen's going to try and get the kill out of this. Gonna get the ult. Well done. And at least Leona's going to get something out of this. Gets the stun right on top of Vi. But I think Elatic still may be dead here.
I stand mistaken. Lifehack, in true form, opts not to run in the face of adversity. Picks up not one but 2 kills in the process before dying, proving time and time again how strong of a mechanical player they are, knowing how much damage they can deal, and when they can hold their ground, knowing that their team is going to back them up.
Exactly.
Once again, good team play coming out of the red team here, much better than the previous game. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And if they do end up taking this game, it's a well-deserved first place.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Very well done. Both teams, I absolutely will say, deserve to be here. The blue team, sure, they may just not have the mechanical skill that the rest of the team, that the red team may have. So, absolute props off and hats off to June, Team June. However, that's not in the least to knock the team of Kato God. They deserve to be here, and they're doing an amazing job. And I don't know. This has been a good game to see. Here we see June actually continue to go ahead and get a couple of kills. Watch this. He's going to score triple kill right there. And Kim Chicken gets the ultimate. Here comes the Caitlyn shot, and that's going to sound the retreat. And I think they're going to go ahead and get it. Sure they will. Vi wants to say hello. Dives in a little too late. Is not able to save the Fizz.
I'm glad that the 5v1 was successful. That's good. But again,
it only took him 2 kills to win a 5v1.
Just some poor decision making in these fights. I don't think that Zexen needed to go into June there. It just made the troll pole that much easier to land, which does a lot of damage if you land directly on top of the person. And he didn't even get the shield out of it, nor did he actually ult in that fight. So I don't really understand him falling in. He should have just stayed back and attacked with his soldiers. Just small mistakes from Zexen these past 2 games that are just accumulating, and June just showing who the better mid laner is in these matchups.
Oh, big time. And here we go. We see Elitek going completely full throttle on top of this yet again. Not sure if this was the right target, driving straight onto support. Perhaps they just needed that for a little bit of help. Here comes the teleport from Kimchi Caps, and there goes even the Azir tower coming back up. I don't think it's going to be enough, and that's going to be a beautiful little triple kill coming over for the red team, all for the cost of a support.
Lifehack, holy shit!
No kidding.
Excuse my French, but the ability to accurately determine which threats they need to focus first.
They're going to go ahead and try and fight under this. Great start coming back out, or a great attempt, I should say, coming out from Kim Chicken. Gets the shield out, but it doesn't actually stun anybody, and that's going to be inhibitors. This is not going to be game.
I don't know. It might be.
I mean, last game they were able to turn it into a victory just because the rest of the red team...
They're playing it safe. That's smart.
Yeah, and that's the good way. Because they're not going to hopefully make that same mistake twice of choosing to re-engage right after spawn one at a time.
I'm telling you, I think we need to have 2 MVPs in this game, because both Lifehack and June are just having stellar play.
Can we say MVPs of their team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elika getting caught out here a little bit of a greedy stay. That's it's not a big deal.
Judging by the capitalization of that name being popped up, I think it might be Eli Ika.
It might be.
But I don't know. I'm not going to be able to pronounce everybody's names correctly all the time. It's just not going to happen.
Blue team could try to force a Baron here. It's not going to go as well as last time. There's no dragon for them to prioritize. And I think if they want to have a chance to do what they did last game and at least have a showing in the mid game, first they
Kimchi Caps, you can't be, or Kim Chicken. What are you doing? Walking straight into Kimchi Caps. That's going to be one dead start right off the bat. Actually, Leona's going to drop first. Here comes the proper shot being blocked by from Green Things. Kimchi Caps ready to continue aggressing right down the mid lane. Forces the ultimate. Great start. Azir actually going to knock everybody right back. Great go. And that's going to be the rest of the team. Goodbye. Holy cow. Look at that damage.
Oh, stop the game. Good hold. That's unfortunate for Lifehack there, eating about half the health bar.
I don't know. What are you talking about? That's not the game. Lifehack just finished off 3 members of their team. June's ready to keep pecking on the rest of this tower. I don't think it's going to be game.
I don't think it's the game.
It's going to be inhibitor.
It's going to be pretty close, but...
I mean, even look back in the bottom lane. We have Winions continue to push right back on the top of the tier 4s. We're about to watch Elitek drop. Kim Chicken's right about to drop. Vi's even taunting. They just don't care anymore. Here comes the tier 4s. Flash shot from Lifehack is going to be an extra kill. There goes Green Things. There goes Zexen. He's going to be next. Do I take it back? Kato God's actually going to make it back to base. And we even say June walking away. Okay, game is still going, but it's over.
Yeah, just fantastic overall play from my team this game. Don't even have to call it an individual game. There was good team play. The buy pick came through really well. This Rock has been doing work with those heals. Fantastic teleports from Kimchi Caps. If they don't have Triumph and Rise, congratulations. You're going to walk out of here with one today. The game is technically not over, but we got a 14k lead, 3 dragons to 0. There's not even a really good potential for Baron. They're going for it. I think that Fizz knows.
Yeah, what else are they going to do? The Caitlyn does not have the damage necessary to go ahead and help assist this.
They can't even get over to Baron.
No, they can't.
Yeah, again, looking at the items.
Oh, here comes Fizz. Beautiful Azir dodge. Still fighting 2v1. Oh, look at those tower shots.
And if we were to pick an MVP, just one, I think that plays like that would make June less of the MVP. Because this is what we saw in the previous game. They fed a kill or two that would allow blue team to get some money back. It probably doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the match or the game, but
I think we're removing the MVP from June, not because he lacks the skill necessary to be the MVP. Obviously, we said he deserved it before. It's about treating your opponents with respect that we care about. And
I don't think he's being disrespectful. I just think he's being cocky.
Yeah, that's my point. Finish the game. Show your respect by ending the game and treating your opponents like. Don't allow for a minute for there to be a possibility of the upset. And that's what I'm looking for right there. There goes Lifehack. The rest of the team continue to dive upon him. They were able to get the kill on top of June earlier. That's going to mean the rest of Kimchi Caps continue to dive in. There comes Elitic's ultimate. It's going to stun too. It's a great little go. Nonetheless, he's still going to drop down. The rest of the team continuing to fight. Blue team is actually not doing a bad job sustaining this. There goes Kimchi Caps. Shut down gold going over to the Fiora. Ellie Ika is going to continue running away. Going to get the flash back out of it. June, sorry about that. Wow, what a big... Okay, I take it back. Big shots coming back in. Nice job coming in from Kim Chicken, and this very well may be a lost kill, or a kill over to Fizz. That's what I'm talking about. Don't BM your opponents because they might just get a comeback. Do I think they're going to come back out of this? Maybe not, but we've shown that Team Zexen, they were able to make a few comebacks here and there all over the place.
Yeah,
they're not gone.
This is entirely the same as the last game in regards to the flow, right? We have a tremendous lead coming out of individual play mostly this game. For the red team, they transition that into team fights, which go better for them, but then they get cocky and they take their lead and they kind of flail around with it. Now they're going for Baron. I think this is a very safe call, and blue team can't really do anything about it, even if they see it. Although with only two members, it's a little more risky. Yeah, I mean, are they going to be able to come back from these small advantages? I don't think so.
Me neither. But at the same time, the point I'm trying to make is that they could have potential. Nicely done, Azir. Continue to dive on top of Lifehack. Might get the kill. Does get the kill. As well as the gold. Drops the gold on top of that. Look at that. Look, they get a double kill right off the bat. Soraka drops. Graves drops.
That's a bloodbath.
They lost 4, but they're showing that they still want to fight. Blue team wants to fight. They want to show that they're still in this tournament. They may not be. Look at how far their gold deficit is there. They're 13,000 gold behind, right? And red team was just right there, Baron, the whole time. But
it's just a matter of money at this point, right? Like,
yeah.
If the blue team plays well and the red team plays poor, the amount of items and money on the red team will transition their poor play into fine play because they have those items, whereas the blue team has to play flawlessly nearly to really come out ahead in these fights that are like even.
Yes.
And that's the big thing that we gotta look at here.
And I want to say one thing. I think the problem here came from the fact that they may have very well lost because of the beginning in the invade.
It certainly didn't help. I think that there were other contributing factors.
Yes.
But giving Graves that kill and having him get to level 6 earlier, having Fizz get to level 6 earlier, to get the solo kill, all these things were factors in the slow early game losses that the red team suffered.
Imagine how amazing this game would have been to watch if blue team had scored that first blood and gotten away with it at the beginning of the game. I think this would be a completely different game.
Oh yeah, no, I think that almost every character on the blue team would have taken that money and run with it, with the exception of Leona. But even Leona, can still build Aegis or something.
Oh, look at Kimchi Caps. What is this?
Well, this is the BM coming out here. They're pretty secure in their victory.
This is just stupid. Why are you doing this? Ultimate coming down from Elitic. This is just rude. I don't appreciate this. Continued pulse coming in from Elitic forces the ultimate right back out of it. Kato God continue to press her back in. Kimchi Caps continue to drop down. Gonna go ahead and get the kill on top of the Fiora first. The rest of the team is not going to be able to do anything about it. And I think that's going to be the game. Goodbye, Kim Chicken. Goodbye, game.
Even with the BM, it was not enough to allow the blue team to just get an edge there. So
it would not be a Digipen tournament if the winning team was not full of BM.
Yeah, we see that shit happen. Well, not to that extent, but we see that stuff happen even in pros.
We do.
BM aside, red team showing why they're the superior team here. All players coming up to play.
And that's going to be game.
Solid games.
Very solid games. Well, very, very well done over to the blue team. Team Kato God is going to be walking away second place in this tournament with a solid 3,000? No.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere around there? I don't remember off the top of my head.
That's more than 20,000.
I've thrown around way too many numbers today. They're walking around with some couple thousand RP. Very, very well done. But we do have to give props over to the red team. Over on Team GTG June with the brilliant first place. I believe they're walking out with 4,000 RP, as well as the Rise skin.
Yeah, and if June didn't already have that Triumphant Rise skin to add to their mid lane collection, they deserved it, because we got 18-4 this game. The previous game, I don't remember the kills, but it was substantial on Vlad. Solo lane dominance that wasn't even, like, jungler was not needed to make that stuff happen. It was just purely June showing mechanical mastery over the characters and just showing that they were the better mid laner between Zexen and June. And again, same goes for Lifetech. We saw fantastic positioning, fantastic knowledge of how much damage you can output, and just knowing that they don't have to back down in the fights. And that's why I think that if we had to pick one player of these two games, right? I personally would pick Lifehack, just because that's some of the most solid AD carry play I've seen ever. But I don't want to discount any player on June's team, because they all played phenomenally. They worked well together. The Sroggen heals were clutch. The teleports were great from Kimchi caps. Vi ultimates helped set up fights, and June was a monster with probably the most damage in both games. If I had the ability to go back and check,
let's go ahead and take a look at that. We can actually go ahead and show it.
It was really close, but they were June and Lifehack were almost tied this game. If you hit go to graph and then hit damage delta champions.
There we go.
Not the second.
Okay, my apologies.
So it was real close.
Yep, so there we go. We do see the final figures coming out for that. Graves doing a whopping amount of damage alongside the Fizz and barely nudging out. Only 200 damage difference from that Graves.
But that just goes to show you, like, how competent, like, Lifehack's play was, right? Like, Fizz is able to do a lot of damage up really quickly, and if he gets an advantage, he just snowballs that advantage throughout the game and just blows people up. And we saw that with the 18 kills coming out of June. Lifehack, though, just constantly putting out damage, positioning very well so they can keep putting out that damage, firing good ultimates, picking people off with those, never backing down from a fight. And that's why they're able to keep up with June's 32,000 damage that was mostly burst damage in these fights. Not necessarily had good sustained damage as well, but that's a very contributing factor. So, very well played.
So, that said, that's going to be the end of our tournament this year. For now. We will have a second tournament coming up. Actually, not too far from here, I believe. It's going to be November
17th?
or something?
Oh,
17th. I think that's right. No, I think you're right. November 17th is what I was thinking myself. So that's when we're going to have a different structured tournament. This is the first one of the year is meant to be one to kind of incorporate as many of the freshmen and get them to learn and get to meet other upperclassmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, as well as to really mix around all of the different degrees, get people to get to know one another and make some friends. So that's the whole purpose of the Captain's Draft tournament that we just finished today. Next time, we're going to be having the LAN tournament coming up, and that's going to be preset teams. Everybody's going to set them up, and that's actually usually kind of a bit more of a stomp because we do have 2 or 3 different teams.
Well, there's 2 different aspects of it, though. Here we didn't have as much communication, so we had some teams that were playing well, but we had 1 or 2 people that weren't on the same page. In the LAN party, everyone should be on the same page. They should probably have played together before. They should work together. Yes. So I think we'll see more coordinated play, but I think that it'll be good games all around either way. So look forward to that.
Yeah, so nonetheless, this has been an amazing tournament. Lots of fun play, and I hope you all had a blast. And we hope to see you again on November 17th when we have our next LAN tournament. So until then, thank you very much. This is Ninja Christopher Christensen.
And I am Ryan Minzu Baker.
And we will see you all again very soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching.